You guys are being really chuggy right now.
Is that a thing? I've never heard chuggy.
No,
Is that real?
Oh,
you invented it. Okay.
Well, I think it was a real thing, and then Gen Z gaslit us into believing it wasn't. I think that's what really happened. Because I think Gen Z started saying chuggy, and then millennials started saying chuggy, and then Gen Z was like, "We never said chuggy."
Yeah.
You definitely said chuggy. You stopped saying it, but you definitely did say it. I remember saying it.
Well, I'm quite enjoying the word Riz at the moment.
Riz?
Yeah.
Riz was kind of last year, I think. Wasn't Riz kind of last year?
That's funny that you're just now getting into it.
Hey, can we do an intro and then we can talk about this on the podcast? Because this is actually good content, I think.
Hey, everybody, welcome to season 51 of Spine Chill.
Well, there's your answer.
I'm your host, or I'm one of your hosts. My apologies. I'm one of your co-hosts. John Wolfe here with Gary the Hot Cross. Who's
Hello.
Doug Running Man.
I'm not your host. Hi.
and Sino Beats.
Hello.
And today we're here to talk about many things. We've got the console tier list coming up in the second half of the episode, which everybody's looking forward to our rage baiting conversations that we're going to be having. As well as we're going to talk about book club. This week's game was Still Wakes the Deep.
Oh, I'm excited to talk about that.
Which was my pick from last time. And we're also going to discuss Gary's pick for book club for episode 52. So that's all coming up. But before we do that, how was everybody's week/last 2 weeks since we last recorded?
Well, I've been doing well. Everyone was like quiet. Yeah, it's been all right. I went to TwitchCon. That was pretty cool. I've got to say, TwitchCon in Rotterdam, I'm going to go next year. I didn't think, because it's in the same place for the next 2 years as well. Like, I think San Diego's for America, right? For 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
They've been hopping around, so maybe it's been a goal of theirs to try and find somewhere for the next couple of years that people can plan on.
I just think they've got like a deal.
Yeah,
I gotta say, I don't think Gary and Sino, I don't think you guys have been to the San Diego TwitchCon, right?
No.
Oh, you should
have been to the Long Beach one.
You went to San Diego?
Did you go to San Diego?
Once. San Diego's the one with the gas lamp quarter, right?
Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, we've definitely been there.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I couldn't remember. Yeah, because San Diego TwitchCon is like the best. It's the best place to have it.
Oh, I love that place so much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I wasn't too sure if I'm going to go to US still, but like I've got to say, Rotterdam, that was pretty good. I was pretty impressed in comparison to Vegas.
Like Vegas TwitchCon, honestly, it's like probably the worst one I've been to.
That I don't. Does it just mean, or does that? It didn't even feel like we went to TwitchCon. It just felt like we took a trip to Vegas and hung out. Like I don't know. Like, that didn't even feel like it didn't feel like a TwitchCon
quite a lot.
Yeah. It didn't even feel like TwitchCon to me.
Yeah, just Vegas has got too many other things going on itself, and I think one of the appeals of TwitchCon is like being able to hang out with people. So a city that's like it's got a little bumping, little action going on, but not like giga busy makes the most sense. So like San Diego, you can just walk around like the gas lamp quarter and hang out at the bars and stuff, and it's easy.
It's also like got amazing weather. Like you're right next to the water, so everything's like got a cool breeze and everything. And
I think for me, when I think of the Vegas TwitchCon, I just think of that partner lounge where it was like a sad spare teacher's room.
Stop it, dude!
Where they had that little popcorn machine.
It had the stale popcorn.
That was the worst partner lounge they've had.
Warm sodas out on the table. Like you just have a warm soda.
Awful.
Like there's no ice.
Some stools with some cruddy tables.
I had a warm Pepsi. Can you think of anything worse than a warm Pepsi? It wasn't even like a Coke or anything.
Gross.
I mean, you know what? I'm having a Pepsi right now, so I'm not a Pepsi hater. But I'm just saying, a warm Pepsi? No.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Was that a small Pepsi?
It's embarrassing.
It's a mini.
Oh, it's a mini.
It's a 7-ounce can.
What the hell is an ounce now?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's a 222 milliliters.
Oh, thanks very much.
That's bad.
Well, you sound a lot like Gary. That's crazy.
That's well small.
I like that you've basically gone, how do I do British? I just be Gary.
Well, Gary, you are British.
I am extremely British. But yeah, TwitchCon Rotterdam was cool. The partner lounge, they gave us crepes, which was cool, and they had like loads. They had the best muffins, and they had soup.
They give you crepes and soup and muffins.
Yeah,
and NA TwitchCon got fucking warm Pepsi and stale popcorn.
Yeah, it was way better.
Is this? This is like a social commentary, bro. Europe versus America.
Well,
It's like you got the universal healthcare version.
Yeah, true. Like
Paris kind of sucked beforehand the year prior, so I think it's
Maybe
a
this-
bad year.
maybe San Diego will restore our faith in TwitchCon this year, then, because last year Vegas was rough.
Hopefully,
Yeah. Yeah, Vegas sucked.
But yeah,
Man,
The
I like
outdoor,
the-
I
Jack
know you guys
Daniels.
didn't go to the con very much, but like they had an outdoor section where you could get alcohol and stuff, and so I went to that with like Hayden and some of his friends. You guys know Hayden from Dom and Hayden, and Justin was there and a couple other people, and like they basically just had us roasting out in the sun drinking beers, and
that's what happened at Paris.
Yeah,
We were on the roof.
They were
We
just
all
like-
escaped onto the roof because we needed some fresh air, and the sun just cooked us.
yeah. There was like shade set up, and there were these things that would spray water set up, but they weren't working. And so we
Oh,
just
yeah.
kind of sat under this thing that was supposed to be spraying us with water, but it wasn't, and so it was just hot. And then eventually we were like, "Fuck this!" We just went inside. Like, this is supposed to be like the cool 21 plus hangout area, and it was awful.
At the Paris partner party, I remember we put up with it up until the point where it was like, they've run out of beer. I'm like, right, well then, fuck this. Let's go somewhere else. This is horrible.
Yeah. Well, hopefully San Diego will be better this time.
Yeah.
So overall, it was better than previous years.
Yes, yeah, it was really cool. The partner party was awesome as well. They had all this food, and you know me, I was constantly grabbing to their
Food
burgers
motivated,
and
yeah.
pizza and ice cream.
Look, I'm not gonna lie, Gary. Most of what you've described so far is things that you've eaten.
yeah, oh yeah,
Right.
They had crepes and they had all this food and there was like pizza and there was food.
partner lounge? They had stale popcorn.
Oh, but like you know who I am. Food's everything to me. So it was amazing.
Yeah, food's important.
Yeah, the restaurants in Rotterdam were really nice as well. Like, it was a really chill place. It was kind of like same atmosphere as Amsterdam, but not as touristy and busy everywhere. Like, it's just a lot calmer, which I
That's good.
really appreciated. So I'm actually quite happy that it's gonna be in Rotterdam again for the next 2 years, because I'll go back.
Did you make any new friends?
Yeah, I did meet some other streamers. I met like I ended up in like some random people's Airbnb one night and drank
Oh yeah.
some Finnish alcohol, which ruined me. And that was the moment where I'd had too much to drink that night. Yeah, there was a lot of cool people at TwitchCon. I didn't really mingle too much because I can't bother to talk to streamers. But it was generally really good.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sweet, man. Sweet. Sounds awesome.
John, how was VidCon?
Yeah, I was gonna ask about.
Yeah.
VidCon as
So this was my first VidCon, and for anyone that doesn't know, it's like the YouTube/TikTok convention, basically. So I wasn't really sure what to expect, but well, I had a good time, but it was not because of the convention. The convention itself was aimed at children very heavily.
When you said TikTok, I kind of wondered.
Yeah, I would say the average age on like the show floor of just attendees was probably like 11.
Oh
averaging
wow!
out. So they were
that
like,
kind
they
of
were like,
that kind of children, not gritty
they were
children, like
well,
cartoons
well,
children. Gotcha.
well, they were like, yeah, there were like 5-year-olds there, and there were like 17-year-olds there. So averaging that out, but
right.
there were adults too. You know, there were plenty of adults, but a lot of the adults were chaperones. They had a chaperone lounge where parents could hang out. Well, I guess while their kids went off and did kid stuff. I don't know. But
Was there a bouncy
VidCon-
castle?
No, but there were carnival games that were aimed at children. I'm not kidding. Yeah, there was a lot of like, check out Pixel Pet's mobile app. There were, it was just a bunch of that stuff. There were a lot of like little chibi people on the booths and stuff. There was very little that was aimed at adults, very little that was aimed at creators. But it was very strange because like you would have like these carnival games like, shoot the water at the target and get a stuffed animal type of stuff. And you would have that right next to like black magic cameras. Take your content to the next level with our $4,000 cameras. And it was like whiplash going between those.
Were they panicking, thinking if this water goes over here and hits our $4,000 cameras?
Oh no, they were separated by a lot. Like there was a lot of room. because the convention floor was pretty small, actually. So the booths were not tight with each other.
Okay.
They were pretty far apart. Elgato had a booth there, but it was more like just a little shack where they just had a couple products. And I mean, it was probably like smaller than this room that I'm in. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't very big. So yeah, they didn't have a whole lot there for like adult creators. And more than that, VidCon's like no other convention I've ever been before in that things were very exclusive. Things were very like closed off. So you know how at TwitchCon, like, it's worth it if you have a partner badge because you can get into partner areas. You can go to like the partner party. But if you don't have the partner badge, then like you can't go into certain areas. That's what VidCon was like, but like times 10. So like there were 3 different badges that you could get just buy off the internet. You could get the community badge, which is basically worthless. You could get the creator badge, which is what I got, which that lets you get into creator areas, which I mean it was like one hallway. And then there's the industry badge, which was way more expensive, and that's for like if you're like a PR person from a company or something, you can get into more areas. But then there were badges that you couldn't buy, such as if you were like on a panel, then you got a featured creator badge, and that was like basically an Omni Pass. And then you got like +1s that got like full access badges and stuff. And basically, if you had those top level badges, they rented out a whole like creator hotel, the Hyatt, and like you couldn't even enter the hotel unless you had one of those top level badges. And that's where all the YouTubers would hang out, all the TikTokers and stuff, like all the people that you would want to network with at VidCon were in that hotel. And I couldn't get into it. Not only could I not get into it, like I couldn't get into like any networking spaces at all with the creator badge. So basically, I always view conventions as networking events because like that's the whole reason to go. But basically, you can't network unless you get one of those top level badges, because otherwise, like I knew I was in trouble when I went in line for my creator badge and I looked next to me and I was like, that is a 5-year-old in line for a creator badge. They're not gonna let that 5-year-old get anywhere close to like, you know, like YouTubers and stuff. And yeah, I was right. You basically, with your little creator badge, you can't go anywhere. You can go to like creator track panels, but it's nothing that you can't already find on YouTube. And like, I went to some panels that like some people that I knew were hosting the panels, like other YouTubers and stuff, but they had these metal barricades up. I've never seen this before. They had metal barricades up in front of the panels, like you're at a rock concert, and you can't interact with them at all. When they start the panel, they get shuffled in from backstage, from like the tunnels, from the back rooms back there in the convention. And then after the panel, they get shuffled back. There's no like Q&A afterwards. There's no, hey, can I get a picture with you? The only way that you can like get a hold of anyone is if you sign up for a meet and greet, which you're shuffled into like a meet and greet lottery system or something. I don't know. I didn't do it. But that's the only way that you're like guaranteed to talk to people that are featured at VidCon. Sheesh. And so I managed to like network with people outside of the convention just because like I was able to like, you know, worm my way into places I wasn't supposed to be and stuff. But as far as the convention itself, there was nothing you could do. It was not a place for, I would say, like a mid-size creator at all, or even really small creators, because I was amazed at how there was no networking spaces at all. There were no like lounges that you could go to. Was there like any like meetup areas where it's like, you know, TwitchCon has the horror meetup where you can kind of go meet other. Yes. No, there's nothing like that. Yeah. That's why I mean there's no networking spaces at all. It was like you could go to a panel. You could like YouTube had like a room, TikTok had like a room, and Instagram had like a booth. But they were designed for you to just kind of pass through. They were not a place designed for you to hang out in and meet other people. So like YouTube had one they called the Creator Stadium. And it was actually pretty neat. Like you could, the line for it was ridiculously long. So you could stand in line and you could get a YouTube branded tumbler with your name on it, with like your channel name, which was pretty neat. So I got one, and it's in the kitchen, and I'm happy I have it. But like after you got your tumbler, it was kind of like, all right, run along now. Like there wasn't really a place for you to just kind of hang. And that's kind of how the whole convention was. And so I basically on day 2 and 3, I was just like, what are my local friends up to? You know? So I went and got Korean barbecue. I went and got pastrami sandwiches. Like I just kind of did stuff outside the convention.
Now we're talking my convention talk.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, overall, I'm like, if I ever do VidCon again, I'm going to have to get one of those top badges to be able to do anything. Like,
do you have to do a talk for that to happen then? Or do you just have to email people?
You have to, well, you either have to know somebody that can get you like a full access badge, which is like the +1 version. Like significant others can get full access, or like managers can get full access, stuff like that. But yeah, otherwise, to be a featured creator, you have to be hosting a panel and you have to like do a submission or something. So I'm gonna look into that next year if I go again. But I will never go as like just a regular badge holder again because it's useless. That's my review of VidCon.
No.
Yeah.
Well, a little sobering.
Yeah. A little sobering. Yeah. I mean, I've been to like 20+ PAX conventions. I've been to TwitchCon several times. I've been to like RTX. I've been to all these conventions. I've never seen so much of a convention like gated off like that. There was a ridiculous amount of like FOMO and people trying to get in places, and it was like,
I'm kind of surprised there's like no
stressful.
networking. Like,
no networking.
Because like, you know, with TwitchCon, like there is at least lots of areas where you can go meet people. Like I got given some trading cards by I actually met the Blue Cross and the Red Cross, which are 2 charity organizations. The Blue Cross gave me some trading cards, which was really cool. And the guy for the Red Cross, that was at the partner party, and I was drunk, and I was just shouting chanting Red Cross at him. Red Cross, Red Cross, Red Cross, Red Cross.
Nice.
Like as a in joke between the two of you, or
yeah,
just
he was lovely. Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
I was gonna say you're not just like this guy's just like
no,
having a
wasn't
nice
like
night.
hassling him. He wasn't having like a glass of water whilst I'm drunk going Red Cross,
screaming in his face.
Are you the Red Cross, man?
I was with him when I was up in this like Airbnb drinking Finnish alcohol.
So that sounds fun.
You guys
it was a great night.
I will say also at VidCon, I've never been accosted by so many like dudes from like a sketchy company before. Like I was stopped several times and been like, "Hey, are you a content creator? I represent blah blah blah," and they just start pitching you their company, and like they'll just do it to like anybody. And I was and I had to so many times I had to be like, "Not interested. See ya." There was a guy that said he represented AliExpress and they wanted to do a sponsored video, and I was like, "What are you talking about? You didn't even know who I was when you started talking to me." So like, there's a lot of sketchy people too walking around with that thing.
Okay, bro, hear it out. I am from a game called Raid Shadow Legends. Have you heard of it?
Yeah. It was that. You basically got pitched stuff like that in person, which was uncomfortable.
That's very funny.
And it wasn't just them. It was like the attendees had a different style to them. I've never seen so many people just randomly start screaming or randomly start running.
Oh gosh!
At any convention.
There's children.
Yeah, a lot of children, a lot of teenagers. There was.
They hear the ice cream van and they fucking sprint.
One thing I heard is that like if you get stopped and people start like taking pictures with you and stuff, random people will just see it and they'll be like, "That must be somebody famous," and then they'll stop and kind of start swarming you. Thankfully, that didn't happen to me, but I did have people stop who didn't know who I was and want to take a picture with me. They would ask me what my channel name was as I was taking a picture with them.
That is like
that's
incredibly
so
hollow.
Yeah.
So it's weird though because like
very strange experience.
In the gaming space, John and I, we've said to each other that sometimes it feels like gaming YouTubers have become a lot more like chill, and sometimes with the Twitch streamers, there's a lot of amazing like Twitch streamers who are like kind of gamer creators, but then sometimes there's like kind of like get rich quick kind of vibe where it's just like, oh, I'll do whatever I can to get clout. And a lot of like the YouTubers, it's like a lot of time and effort to edit these videos. So some of the gaming YouTubers are very chill, but it sounds like the convention in general sounds very, I don't know.
So
it sounds empty.
Well, I mean, there was nothing for gaming YouTubers either. It was there was no gaming presence at all. I mean, MatPat was there. MatPat had a panel. But other than that, I mean, there were no other gaming YouTubers that I knew of, other than like my friends that I met up with there. There was nothing there for them. So Yeah,
It's a little
that was
cynical.
another aspect that was kind of strange.
If you're like a mid-sized creator, you're just there to have companies advertise to you, and the big creators, they're like, all right, piggies, I know you want to get your clammy little hands all over MatPat so you can sign your shit, but you're going to have to buy a big pass for that or like wait in a line behind the
basically,
gate, you know? It sounds a little... If you're there to be like a fan of someone, then they're going to make you feel like a lesser human being. And if you're there as a mid-sized creator, they're going to have AliExpress like try and put you in some sort of sponsorship. So
yeah, like my experience as someone with the creator badge was basically identical to like a non-creator experience. I got the fan experience, which was like you stand behind that metal barricade while the real creators are up there doing what they do best, and you can't interact with them.
What's weird to me about it is just that you're a giant creator.
Yeah. That's crazy, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean,
John is YouTube's little secret.
Well,
dirty secret sometimes is the way you're treated.
I mean, it doesn't really matter like how big your channel is. It matters what badge you have. Unfortunately,
that's cringe.
Yeah, but like, I just, if I was doing something like that, you'd want it so that you could apply for the pass. You don't have to.
Well, I think there were applications. I just didn't know that I needed to do that. I didn't know about it.
Well, you'd assume the creator badge. You'd be like, oh, cool, I'm a creator.
Yeah.
No.
Which, I mean, some people that have been to VidCon previously, like my friend Lauren Z-Side told me, she was like, it's not worth it unless you get featured creator. And I was like, oh, okay. But I guess I didn't listen. I didn't know how bad it would be. I was like, I'm sure I'll be fine. And I mean, I had a fine time, but it was not due to the convention.
Was there an
artist
alley?
I made my own fun.
Was there an artist alley? Was there anything like...
No.
Oh god,
no.
I'd be so
Not even an artist alley? Oh, yeah, you would definitely be out then.
No, there was no artist presence. There was no like merch really. The show floor, I'm not kidding, it's probably the worst I've ever seen of any convention.
Wow.
That's so bizarre.
Make sure to feature me next time, VidCon.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll watch.
I thought VidCon was like one of the biggest YouTube ones.
Yeah, I thought that'd be...
It is, yeah. Well, apparently my experience is not that unusual for this year. Even people that got the featured pass and were able to go to like, you know, summer camp for creators in the Hyatt Regency and stuff. They were still like, this is like the worst VidCon has ever been. So I don't know. I guess
could that be because they were like, get the bouncy castle, get the carnival rides in.
Yeah.
TikTok's brought the age demographic down, so.
Well, like the thing is though, too, is like that a lot of the people that got top level badges, they didn't even really get to experience the show floor because, like, I was hanging out with some featured creators before day one, and I was like, "What are you guys doing tomorrow? Like, are you gonna like check out the show floor?" And they were like, "Oh, we're not allowed to." And I was like, "What?"
So
and if
weird.
you have a featured creator badge, you're not allowed to just wander the show floor. They don't let you. You can't go out there.
Oh, because you create too much of like a crowd because
a distraction. Yeah.
Dude, that's just like when I two TwitchCons ago, I like literally physically bumped into Hassan like on the show floor. Like it's like, what do they? Who do they think they are, and what do they think is gonna happen, bro? Like that's crazy.
If you start treating people like that's gonna happen, people start acting like that.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
I would say the only difference is if it's
children.
kids.
Yeah,
kids are much more likely to just be like they freak out, right? And then it's like harder to shepherd
That's my
them
favorite
around.
Minecraft player.
Oh yeah, there were Minecrafters there in droves too.
Yeah,
Actually, I said there was no gaming presence, but there was a Minecraft presence.
Naturally,
and that was
Roblox and
pretty much
Minecraft dominated.
Oh my god, I got to meet so many like 18, 19-year-old like Minecraft guys, and they were like so bad at networking. It was so strange to see. They would just show me their channel on their phone. and they would like not make eye contact with me. They would like look at the ground and shuffle their feet and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at this, 20 million views on my last short. And I was like, okay.
Those poor little fellas, bro. Those bros they were in high school. They were in high school last year, dude. They don't know what they're fucking doing. They're like, oh,
it was just
definitely
amazing.
like the kids entertaining other kids, but they're still learning how to socialize themselves, kind of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy's definitely still on his parents' insurance, dude.
I would like walk away from like talking to like these 19-year-olds, and I'd be like, I don't even know what his channel name was. No idea.
So
Did a terrible job.
He didn't know what yours was either.
Yeah, no. He literally didn't. Yeah.
That sounds awkward.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Well,
because
thank
that
you
age
for
I'm
that
thinking
breakdown.
I'm thinking like my university students, like I have to try and teach them how to like network in a convention.
Teach them how to talk to another person. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. It's tough. It's
Yeah,
hard.
it's just that. It literally is like.
I'm not good at it.
As we've said quite a few times to each other, I feel like kind of very glad that I had some kind of life experience before all of this online world started up for me. Like if I got into this when I was 17 and I just skipped right to just only ever doing online stuff, I would probably get to like age 26, 27 after my career had like settled a bit and thought to myself, like, I am weird. I'm like really maladjusted.
Yeah, you'd look at your kettle and go, how does that work? I guess I'll put it on the floor.
Not the kettle, Gary. Not my
Oh,
baby.
not the floor kettle.
Yeah.
Oh.
5 years
Just
old, I was
callbacks.
making myself cups of tea with that
Callbacks.
thing. But yeah, like we all had a little bit of like other things going on in life that forced us to learn how to talk to people before we were like shut off in a room for the rest of our careers.
Yeah,
true.
That's a really good point to make. Like, I mean, you know, most of us we like existed prior to the internet being like central to the human experience, you know. And these kids, they grew up, internet was central to the human experience. So
yeah, or at least with us, it was a little bit less all-consuming at first. But the internet, when like Gary and I were growing up and John, it was like there was still a lot of this kind of cyberspace, and for you as like more of a teenager, although when we were teens too, but it's like it was more like a thing that you went and did on like the family computer, and then you could just leave it alone. Apart from like the occasional like somebody got big in MySpace and they released like really funny like comedy album. Let's get some shows. Let's party. You know.
Did you guys ever have MySpace top 8 drama?
You
were lower in your friend's top 8 than they were in yours, or something. There was some sort of uneven.
I made all of mine became Dragon Ball Z characters because it was just easier.
See, Gary, you've always been a forward thinker, bro. You've always been outside the box. That's brilliant.
What I did was I made Tom number 1 in my top 8.
Always,
and that way nobody was fighting over him. Nobody was fighting over the top spot.
You had to keep Tom number 1, and it's because it was a great meme, and then nobody could get upset that they weren't number 1.
Exactly.
Absolutely, that's brilliant. Yeah.
Mine was Vegeta. Exactly. Vegeta was my number 1.
Nice.
Is he still your number
Gary,
1?
did you not have any friends, or?
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
I didn't want to have the top 8 because the drama that always kicked off. I was like, I'm just going to put my favorite Dragon Ball Z characters in order. I was a really cool kid.
My best friend.
He's my only friend. Fuck you, Goku. He'll beat you one day.
You stole Vegeta's glory.
He's the Prince of all Saiyans, you bastard.
Number 2 in my top 8, Naruto.
I can't tell if this is the best thing ever or the worst thing ever. I'm still trying to make
this
up
is one of those situations. Whenever they do this, it's for me. It's like a parent like trying to talk to a kid about things that they have no idea about. I'm like I don't know any of this stuff.
Who's your favorite Naruto character?
I got a G Fuel once that had a guy with yellow hair on it, and I think that was my favorite.
Was it
Naruto?
Was it? I don't know.
Actually, him.
It might have just been. Is that the person or is it the show? I don't know. I don't know anything about it.
I think my favorite is Sasuke.
Sasuke? Yeah.
I love Sasuke. Sasuke's the best. Yeah, Doug, you'd like Sasuke.
You think so?
Yeah.
I like Itaki.
He'd break shit house or what? Like, what's his thing? What's his story? What's his deal?
Kakashi is pretty cool too.
Let me look him up. Is that Sasuke? Sasook or?
Yes, that's the one. That's the one.
Yeah. Okay, let me look it up.
That's how you spell it. You spell it just the way you pronounce it.
Yeah.
Is it from Dragon Ball Z?
Pretty easy. Japanese is such an easy language.
Dragon Ball Z. That's right.
Is it true?
Yes.
I don't know. Do you guys? I don't know. I don't know what's real. The fourth wall here. I don't know. Am I actually looking at? What is this? Is it really Dragon Ball Z or is it Naruto or Naruto?
Yeah, you mispronounced Naruto, but yeah.
It's pronounced Naruto.
Sasuke Naruto.
Yeah, Sasuke. Yeah,
Sasuke Naruto.
There's all kinds of different people here. Like, this is not one person. This is. You know what? I'm for them. I'm for them. I support.
Yeah.
I vote in favor.
I vote in favor. Yeah.
Good.
Cool.
If you want to sell Doug on why his favorite Naruto character should be Sasuke, comment below.
Yeah,
Sasuke
do.
Sasuke likes asymmetrical horror.
And then you can tell your kids.
Direct message
Doug.
me as many words as you can write about it, and we'll read every one of them, please.
You should go up to your sons and be like, wasn't it dope when Sasuke beat Naruto at the waterfall, and they're gonna just like turn to you and wonder if you've been replaced.
They will high five you.
Yeah.
You think so? Will I
Dad's cool.
Dad's cool. Jumping high five.
Yeah, finally, Dad's cool.
All right. Thanks, guys. You just saved my parenting.
Yeah.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about
initially we were going to talk about Lingo. Do you remember? We were talking about like Lingo that we liked because you have recently got into Riz, Gary. Cool.
Gary's a recent Riz convert. Yeah.
Riz,
Tell us more about that, Gary. Tell us more about Riz.
I believe it's how like cool and confident you are. You like exude Riz.
Do you know where the word comes from?
Do you know what Riz is short for?
No. When someone said it in chat first, I thought they were talking about
charisma,
paper.
right? It's charisma.
Short for
isn't
Oh, is it charisma? Cool, yeah. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's what
Charisma.
That's what I thought it was, yeah. Yeah, mate.
Watch yourself.
I got fucking loads of Riz.
I've been saying locked in a bunch. That's kind of how the conversation
Locked in's
started.
great.
I said something about
Locked
locked
in's
in,
good.
and then I mentioned that was Zoomer language, and then we started talking about our favorite Zoomer words. And whoa, John, what was the word you said that I've never heard before?
Oh, I said chuggy as a joke.
Chuggy. I've never heard that word.
It sounds like I'd buy it, like it'd be next to Twinkies.
It
I like
sounds.
chuggy.
Yeah, it sounds
thing
gross.
Meaty chuggy.
Zoomers said chuggy for like a week, and then millennials were like, all the Zoomers are saying chuggy, and the Zoomers were like, not anymore, we aren't. And then it stopped. So it was very quick.
I like saying on fleek.
Yeah, on fleek is good. That was a couple of years ago, though, right? That was a couple of
2014. What the hell? On fleek.
Every time I say it on stream, you're like, "Oh God."
Yeah.
Stop it.
And that's the reaction you're looking for.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they're feeding the beast.
Yeah. Epic troll from Gary.
Straight fire.
One thing that I find, I don't even know if it perhaps is getting to the point now where some of this lingo maybe isn't Gen Z, it's like the next generation. Although sometimes I think there might be too many generations and we're a bit self-obsessed, kind of navel-gazing. But people have started to just say like Ohio.
Yeah,
as like
Skibbity Ohio.
Skibbity toilet, Ohio, Riz.
Yeah.
Is that a way of saying hello? Ohio?
No, it's
fun
like
way of saying hello.
it's just something being weird. I think is Ohio. So I
Yeah.
always say Ohio a little bit like I'm saying Ohio gozaimasu, like I'm back in my fucking Japanese classes again. But yeah, I don't know why they just suddenly Ohio has become lingo.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, this is weird. I gotta say the skibbity thing, I'm surprised it's lasted as long as it has, because that's by far the dumbest one.
Is that a dance
Easily.
move?
Is that what?
Is it a dance move?
No, skibbity. I think it's just a phrase, right? It started the first time I heard it was on that "Sticking Out My Giat for the Rizzler" TikTok viral song.
People in chat always bring that word up. I have no idea what it means.
Which one? Gat, skibbity.
I thought it was pronounced Gaiat, but
Gat is a big ass, I believe.
Gat sounds like I've got
cake.
Gat sounds like you've got some kind of condition. You've got a build up of Gat.
Well, that's incorrect, Gary.
John, you seem to have some Gat in your throat.
Nickelodeon Gat. I thought it was like a gun, like a gat, like a fast firing gun.
A gat is GAT, like a gat.
Yeah, GYAT.
Oh, yeah,
when they say GYAT, it's like your ass.
Yeah,
sticking out your gat for the Rizzler.
Sticking out your.
I was like, because
oh my god,
cake.
Isn't it stand for girl? Isn't it stand for girl? Your ass is thick. I think that's what GAT stands for. I think it stands for girl, your ass is thick. I'm pretty sure. I'm 90 on that.
I always thought it was like, god damn. That's what I thought it was.
I like that. That's what I thought too.
I mean, why can't it be both, right? I mean, why can't it be both?
Yeah.
True. No. Sometimes, I think charisma coming and being like turned into Riz is quite clever. There's something very elegant about that phrase, right? Like,
there's a lot of people that hate the youths, like they get the boomer mindset, but I think Zoomers are like probably one of our most creative and funniest like generations. I agree. I think Riz is very creative, very funny. I like to use it. I think lock in is awesome. Like I think that they're doing great, man. They're doing great.
I mean, there's a lot of back and forth and stuff between the generations, just fun bants. But I genuinely like Gen Z. I think actually Gen Z and millennials are very similar.
God. I just had a flashback to us playing Rainbow Six Siege.
economically,
siblings, you know.
It's not like Gen Zers live in a very different economic landscape than we're in now. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Sometimes people are like, "Oh, Gen Zers will never understand." It's like, "Oh, it's the same thing. They're in the rental market. They're paying too much rent. They can barely afford a home. Blah blah blah. It's the same shit." You know what I mean? It's not completely different.
Yeah.
We're all struggling.
I think everybody in like the 30s and to a certain extent 40s and 20s are like pretty much in the same arena of things now, more than ever, like in like the 20th century for sure. Like I think ages have kind of been homogenized a little bit in terms of like life experience. Like we're all having pretty similar trials and tribulations out here, I think.
Agreed.
We all feel like we're maybe not like adults fully as much as we could be, because like economically it's hard to like, you know, own all the signifiers of wealth. That means now that you're a fully fledged bill paying adult, that, you know, all this kind of stuff is common. It's not like the 50s anymore.
If you're 20 or 30 or 40, hell, even if you're 50, you're still gonna stick your gat out for the Rizzler.
Absolutely, I'm still sticking my gat out.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Thank you.
But I mean, like the oldest Zoomers now are in their late 20s. You know, they're not like teenagers anymore.
Nope.
They're adults. They're out there in the world. They're post grad.
They could be your boss.
Yeah.
They could get promoted above you at the company, and you have to report to them now.
Yeah.
Your gat isn't to get the promotion enough.
All right. Do you guys want to talk about something else?
That we've embarrassed everyone that's listening.
Oh yeah. So just to catch up. I didn't do anything. I'm moving, so I've been in that process of like locking in a new apartment, getting all of my stuff like sorted. That's been what I've been up to. I've been still obviously streaming.
He's been locked in.
I've been locked in. I've got
locked in, loaded.
Of course, you would love that phrase. It's about being as hardcore and as focused as possible. That's like that's Doug's life mantra. Locking in.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's been pretty much it for me. I've just been working and preparing for the move, spending time with the kids. I went to a baseball game, which was really fun. Took my son to a baseball game, which is classic Americana stuff.
Okay, Mariners? Or...
Yeah, Mariners and the Blue Jays. Yeah, which was crazy because the Blue Jays are a Canadian team. They're from Toronto. And we're right by BC. And there was so many people that came from Canada that it felt like it was like an even split. Like it was like a home and away. Everybody, it was actually a really fun experience for that. Like,
so people in BC are fans of the Toronto Blue Jays.
That's what they got. I guess they got that's their Canadian team, right?
But they're like closer to Seattle.
True, but Canada versus America. I mean, I think it's sports just be like that. I mean, it was
interesting to me. I guess
I talked to a guy who he came all the way from the East Coast. Like, you know what Eastern Canada was like? Alberta, Calgary, right? Isn't that on the east side of Canada? Calgary, Alberta.
I think so.
Like, I'm not
sure.
I'm not a Canadian. I'm not a geologist, so I don't really know where these places are on a map. But yeah, Gary got it. I literally looked at Gary's face to wait for him to get it. So, but no. Guys came from like Eastern Canada all the way to the West Coast to watch the game. I was like, that's wild. Why don't you just
that's major riz.
Yeah, super riz. Yeah, they were. And the Gats were out for sure. A lot of alcohol at sporting events.
The Gats were out for the ball game.
True. But yeah, that was the big happening for me. That was big haps. I went.
Doug, did you see that the LA Dodgers had a whole VTuber promo where like the VTubers were singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" on the display over the stadium and stuff, and it was like the merch line afterwards was the longest and most successful the LA Dodgers have ever had, apparently.
That's insane. Are they? So that's like modern sports, like kind of gets into our conversation. Like they're like leaning into the Zoomer generation and doing things that'll like appeal to the youths to keep baseball relevant.
Well, yeah, baseball. I can't think of a sport in sore need of that than baseball, frankly. So good on them. Yeah.
Awesome. Some people thought it was like kind of weird. Obviously, like I think sometimes with VTubers, do you ever get these type of guys who are like, they're not super like online Twitch culture nerdy types. They're like kind of generic dudes, but they occasionally have like an interest that you would not expect that's like hyper nerdy or like very kind of like awkward. I don't know how to describe it, but sometimes really generic dudes will suddenly be like really into like the most cringe anime thing that you would not expect like a generic kind of like construction worker type to be into. And I wonder if VTubers that. Also, people forget VTubers obviously come from Japan. Like baseball is quite big in Japan. as well.
It is.
So
yeah.
it probably was like a thing that they arranged with like these baseball companies over there, but it was very bizarre to watch them like singing on the big screen and thinking like somebody's boomer dad is watching this and might have a heart attack and just like die on the spot. They're like, what is
make
this?
America great again. Look at this.
What have they done to my beautiful sport?
Yeah.
Look, they've invaded our sport.
Very like, I'm going to show a Victorian child this and they're going to just die on the spot from shock kind of moment.
Oh, God.
I don't know what these boomer dads are thinking. Or maybe they're just like, she's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe get me one of those shirts.
Tits.
Yeah, maybe the title. Yeah,
I'm going to type anime big tits into Google.
Into
There
my
it is.
computer.
Into my computer.
Maybe.
Computer search anime big tits.
Just shouting it at the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like not voice activated or anything. It's just computer search anime big tits.
Showing it at like their
Why ain't you
2007
working?
Packard Bell computer.
Anime big tits.
Big titties.
Oh, Sino, are you all excited for the Euros?
What?
England's in the final of the Euros. We're talking about
Oh,
sport.
football.
Yeah,
Oh,
football.
yeah, I saw-
Sorry, I
saw-
was like the
versus,
currency.
Spain, right? It's
Yeah, it's England versus
and
Spain
the
on
UK.
Sunday.
Yeah, I
Oh,
saw
I
an
man.
watched a bit of
interview.
Like
it
beating
when I was,
Spain.
yeah, when I was in Rotterdam.
exciting
Like,
stuff.
I'm into
Oh.
it. I'm like,
I'm not allowed to be excited about that. I have to wish that England fails. Scottish people have to always do that because
Oh, right.
we're never going to make it to the finals, so we have to root against the English.
I saw a tweet about the Euro finals that they were like, I'm rooting for Spain because I just don't want the colonizers to win. And I was
What do you
just
think
like,
Spain's been doing?
yeah, I was
Hello?
like, you never heard about all of Spain's exploits?
like people forget
Interesting.
that like every single European country has got dirt. Just because England
Oh,
has
yeah.
a little bit more.
Oh yeah, just a little bit.
England was just more successful at it, is the trouble. So everyone's like, bloody hell, you got to have a laundry list.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so
like,
really,
oh, yeah.
it's battle of the colonizers is really what it is.
No
Right.
one's clean in Europe.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, sometimes-
you guys only kicked the English out because the Spanish and French lost.
Oh yeah, the French tried too, didn't they?
Yeah.
They succeeded up in Canada, I guess.
Yeah.
I went on some rants about that kind of stuff before on stream where like people talked about how British food is really crappy. And it became like kind of a TikTok meme. And you know, like people can't handle spice, etc., all those other memes. But the problem is when they get really popular, people start to just say them over and over and over without even knowing the context. So we were getting to the point where like it was like a kind of Chinese dish, I think it is. It's like a way of making chicken that looks almost like not super prepared, but it's just like it's the way that they do it to like give it certain flavors. And people like randomly reposted this on TikTok and they were like, couldn't handle the spice. Oh, they never season their food. Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, you don't realize now that you're actually not targeting the people that you think you're targeting with these jokes. You're just saying this shit without knowing it because it's popular to say it and be like, oh, I can't handle spices. So it's like, if you're going to make those jokes, I think you should, if you want to be all smug about it, maybe you should do your homework a little. Kind of like the whole England are the colonizers, not Spain type of stuff. Maybe do your homework a little.
I mean, I'll just say I'll give British people props. Everything that I had when I was in Britain, I did not think was tasteless or bland. I thought it was just fine. So I don't know where that stereotype really comes from. It's kind of funny to bring out every once in a while as like a joke, but for real, I didn't have anything there that I was just like, bland, tasteless UK food, just like I've heard about. Everything was fine. It was tasty, I thought.
Yeah, I don't think we always do super well on that front. Sometimes there's certain cultures that just like are super strong at certain things. Like I would say the UK musically has like really, really had like a lot of impact globally, and maybe with like some food culture. To be honest, a lot of the UK food culture that is banging tends to come from other countries that the UK has taken inspiration from, quote unquote, perhaps.
That is a really nice
over
way
the
of
years.
putting it. Our history museum is full of inspiration.
Yes, inspiration. Lara Croft, she just gets inspired by other cultures, and then she goes to visit them, and then she steals it.
From now on.
Oh my god!
But
That's so
it's also one of those
funny.
things where it's like sometimes it's kind of, this is a rather deep thing, but it's like if you constantly imply that all of that is not British culture, it's other culture, then there's no where's the the kind of the US idea of the melting pot, where it's like the
Mm-hmm.
culture becomes like a mixture of everybody's like contributions together. It could sometimes get a little bit lost, and it's just like there's us and there's them, and that's it forever. That's a sticky subject though, so I'm not going to talk about it too much. But
Spy Show canceled.
Spy Show's canceled.
Can I just random? This is so random, and we don't
Just
have
do
to
your
talk about it.
research. That's all I ask.
But
Yeah,
speaking
right.
of,
Don't
speaking
tell
of
me what to do.
conversations-
Search
your-
anime big tits.
I said anime big tit.
Sorry, Doug.
No, you're fine. No, that was more important for sure. Yeah. So, John, you recently tweeted something that got me thinking deep about your concept of like how people these days, like, if you could help me refresh my memory on the tweet, people tend to like just like lock in on one thing, and they have a hard time like liking more than one thing. Do you know what I'm referencing? The
Yeah.
tweet you made?
Yes.
Yeah, I said I was trying to find out if there's anybody else that have like broad interests that feel alienated by the internet's general tendency to only focus on a couple of different topics at a time.
Yeah. I've thought about that so much, like in my personal, like I've done a lot of inner work and like trying to figure out like why I'm the way that I am and why like I tick like I do. Cause you guys all know about me with like ASIM and the fact that Gary's made jokes about me, like digging through, like I'm an obsessed ex, like digging through the bin of identity V, like, ooh, I got to find some stuff. Like I fixate on ASIM. And I've thought about like, why do I do that? Because I do enjoy other competitive games. And I do go through phases. I went through phases.
You like Viewfinder?
Yeah, I love Viewfinder, and we'll talk more about it, but I loved Still Wakes the Deep. And I think that actually what happens to me, like psychologically, is I get overwhelmed at the concept of how much stuff is good and how much I could miss. It's like a FOMO thing. So it's like, once I start, like right now, I'm an ASIM player. I play DBD, I play Texas Chainsaw, I play Ghostbusters, I play Identity V, I play all these games. And it makes it easy because I have time to kind of not miss anything. If I'm an ASIM guy, because again, as you guys are well aware, there's not that much to miss. Like there's not that much going on. So for me, it's not an insurmountable task to like make sure I don't miss out. But if I'm like, oh, I want to play, like horror games, like there's so many good horror games, and I've already missed so many of the iconic ones, and there's so many that just continually churn out. And so to me, I think that's where it comes from, at least for me, and that maybe it could be like societally a thing. Like you get locked in on one or two things because that you can actually pay enough attention to it to feel like your attention is being like reciprocated and like value, right? Because like if you're really into shooters, you have Valorant people, then you have Overwatch people, and you have Fortnite people, and it becomes hard to be all those kind of people because there's always a new battle pass, there's always a new update, there's always something you're missing out on if you're not locked in on everything.
Well,
right?
we spoke about that in the past as well, because like DVD people, one of the reasons we eventually was like, this podcast just being about ASIM horror isn't working because DVD people just want DVD, TCM people just want TCM.
Right. Yeah.
Like you're right, people aren't playing Fortnite, Valorant, Overwatch, Call of Duty. They aren't playing them all. They just pick one.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, I don't really know how people manage to keep up with all of this. And like you said, it's kind of exhausting, this idea of just like, I have to base my whole personality around this thing now, rather than... Because like, I get really into stuff, yeah, but also a lot of us are kind of all-rounders in some regards too, right? So it's tricky to keep up, really.
Well, I mean, like, Doug, your example is with games, right? But like, I know that you have a lot of other interests. Like, you like, we both like metal music. Like we're both into like TV shows like Succession, and we have other interests that we have outside of gaming, and that's more. I guess that's more what I'm talking about, is like a variety of general interests.
Yeah, no, that's cool. But I feel like for me, and again, maybe it's a me thing, and I've thought about this. I tend to homogenize even that. Like I listen to metal like 98% of the time, and there's been periods of time where I'm like, I really kind of want to like dig in and see maybe because I enjoy rap music and hip hop music, and a lot of the people in my spaces and my friends listen to that as well. And I'm like, well, what if I start like kind of just diving into that? But then I get overwhelmed. I'm like, well, I've never listened to Kendrick. I've never listened to Drake. I've never listened to all these people. I got to now I got to go through libraries and I got to figure out what's going on with these guys. And I got to hear, who's it just becomes to me and again, this could just be like a me thing, and I don't know if it's like to everybody, but then it's like there's just too much, and I'm like, you know what? I can just stick with what I know because I know what's good, I know what's bad, I know what I like, and I do have other interests. I mean, I enjoy, like, for example, Taylor Swift. I think is very talented, and I enjoy her music, but I don't like seek out to listen to Taylor Swift, but I enjoy it and I see the value in it. But then it's like, do I start getting into more pop music? You know, is that what I'm saying makes sense? Like, it's like once you start to deviate from what you know, and again, Succession, you use that as an example, but that's like, that took my friends like 3 years of like, you need to watch this show. And I'm like, I don't watch those shows because I watch horror shows. I watch like Flanagan stuff, and I watch, you know,
right.
Like,
but you still gave it a chance. You eventually gave it a chance. And
then when I did, it's my favorite show of all time. And it's not even, and I watch horror shows, right? And it's like, that's like where I'm like, wow, I'm glad I didn't miss that.
Well, see, that's mostly what I was like. I think a lot of people misinterpreted that tweet that we're talking about, but that was mostly what I was like lamenting, is like people not giving things a chance because they're like, well, I'm not interested in that. So like their friends are like, watch Succession, and they're just like, I'm not interested in that, and they just don't watch it. Yeah. But like, you know, it took you a while, but you eventually did because like you were curious about it. So that's more of like the varied interest that I think I feel like that I have too, that I'm feeling, I don't know, increasingly alienated by like super like hyper focused internet communities where everybody's just like obsessed with like one thing or just like a genre of things. And I feel like there's no room for me as like a casual fan, because like you said, you're a casual fan of Taylor Swift. You like Taylor Swift, but you're not like, you don't like seek Taylor Swift out. You're not like a Swiftie,
right?
But you appreciate her music. You're a casual fan, and I'm a casual fan of like a lot of different things. But I feel like I can't really engage with them because if I do, then it's going to be a bunch of people that are like super obsessed with it, and I'm going to be out of my league. And
so you're not a super fan, so you're kind of just discarded at that point.
Yeah, and I just wish that there were more people that had like just a general casual interest in things, and it doesn't have to be like hardcore super fan for everything.
I can kind of, because that's how I feel like Magic the Gathering. I feel like I'm so far behind getting into that circle that I don't know where to start.
Right.
I don't know exactly what you mean. I keep meaning to get you to introduce me to it, but.
And that's so real, because like you start to kind of feel like shit. People make you feel like shit. Oh, this guy doesn't know about Draktar the Unstoppable, the best card that came out last year. Jesus, bro. Bro, fucking look at it. Yeah.
Because I get that, people, like, they're so into it that they've already had every conversation you could possibly have about the interest. And so then when you dive in, and as someone who doesn't know that stuff, and you're just trying to have like a surface level, you know, appreciation for things, then you get made fun of or you get corrected or whatever, and it's just not fun. It's not fun.
Yeah, no. I guess you're right. It's like the casual fan is more and more, and it's probably because we have access to so much information that like everyone can just know everything about everything if they want. Like if you're a fan of like for instance the show The Boys, if you're a fan of that, you can literally know everything there is to know about The Boys. You can watch all the shows, you can read the comics, you can go on the forums, you can hear all the theories and stuff. You can like educate yourself that way. And when we were growing up, then we would go to the fucking library to like look stuff up, you know? Like we didn't have access. Yeah. We didn't have access to everything.
I think this.
Yeah. Or again, Magic the Gathering, excellent example. I grew up on Magic, and we would go down to our local drugstore and buy Magic cards. And there was InQuest magazines we could buy to like learn more about it. But that was
Magic cards equal drugs.
True. Yeah. Honestly, like that's a whole other conversation. But so like nowadays though, you can learn everything there is to know about anything. And then so people are basically just that are getting into something will always be starting out like way behind because somebody's got some Encyclopedia Britannica level knowledge of something, and you're just checking in.
It's a bit like why people can't really get into. You know, it's difficult to get into Dead by Daylight or Killer Clowns, or because like the game's out, like you're behind the curve. That's kind of a good comparison to what society's like now, and you try and get into a new interest.
Yeah. Anytime I stream DVD, there's always someone that comes in and is like, "Is it too late to start? Is it too late for me to get into this?" And I always tell them no, but 8 years in, I mean, there's just a lot of stuff, like a lot of terminology, a lot of history. There's so many perks, like
Do you guys also have this thing, I kind of call it in my head like accidental gatekeeping. So obviously we all know of gatekeeping when somebody's like, you haven't fucking heard of Ragnar in the latest deck of Magic? What do you...
Right.
Do you even keep up with the metagame, bro? And it's all that kind of tedious bullshit. But there's also people who are so excited by something that like they don't know how to tone it down for somebody who's just getting started, and that can also be very off-putting. Where you like information bombard someone who's new to it and say all this stuff that like you haven't given them time to discover what can sometimes be quite a complex universe bit by bit, the same way that they did, because they're at the end point now and they just want to talk about everything, and it's like
they
like
just
finding out which
they want to catch
love.
you up, they want to speed track you to where they are.
They kind of suffocate you with all this stuff, and then you're kind of overwhelmed and you're like, I don't know, it's
I feel like maybe like the experts want to drag you up to their level so that you can talk at their level instead of coming down to your level and meeting you where you're at to like.
True.
Yeah, that's why I call it like accidental gatekeeping, because obviously the malicious stuff is tedious, but it's like sometimes I watch people do this and it's like somebody who's getting into a competitive game for the first time being bombarded with like specific meta game information, and the person's still just getting used to like the controls. They're still having their moment where it's like, I got my first victory, I got my first this and that, and it's like if you don't let them celebrate those moments, they won't grow to love it the same way that you, who have spent 4,000 hours of your life, will. But people just can't.
Only 4,000.
Yeah, that's baby numbers.
Only 4,000. Wow.
All I could think there. So
this is exactly what we're talking about, Don.
It's you. It's in the room.
So when you introduced me to League of Legends for the first time, and you were very sweet about like, letting me get used to the game and figure things out.
Yeah, absolutely. I try my best. Like I think that's. I don't think I could keep up with the world of sales, but I often think of it as like a sales pitch to someone, where you can't bombard someone and overwhelm them and then expect them to be like, yeah, cool. A lot of the time they're just going to be like, that was a bit much. I don't really understand what you're talking about, so I'm just not gonna buy, you know. Or with some personality types, if you want them to try out like a new TV show or a new game, saying, you haven't watched Game of Thrones yet, over and over is kind of more likely to make them not want to watch it.
If anyone ever says, how have you not watched this? I go, I'm never going to watch it now.
Yeah, because you're being annoying about it. Yeah. It's like, if you kind of lay out some breadcrumbs here and there, a lot of the time, lay out the breadcrumbs and watch the ducks gather, you know?
Right.
Try not to shove out an entire loaf of bread down a duck's throat. Why? This is a weird metaphor.
No, I like it.
I'm just trying to bring a little colour and life to the language.
I don't want to be the duck that's choking to death on a full loaf of bread.
Yeah, I've brought a really cheap bit of bread from Tesco, from our local supermarket, and it's full of additives and sugar, and I'm killing the ducks by trying to feed them too much.
I'm ramming the baguette down its throat.
And it's annoying that the Game of Thrones people were the worst for that. You ever watched Game of Thrones yet?
I just think, I agree.
I put it off for so long because of it.
I think anything that becomes like widespread like that, like people just start to get obnoxious about it. It's like if you miss that initial wave, they're just gonna, it's crazy. I had literally a situation within the last few weeks where I was like in a conversation and somebody mentioned they hadn't seen Breaking Bad, and somebody immediately jumped on them like, how have you you go stop what you're doing right now and go watch Breaking Bad. What the fuck's wrong with you? And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, that person's never going to watch Breaking Bad.
No.
Yeah.
Because you just ridiculed them for not seeing something. Like, why would they want to? They're not.
Yeah. I tell people now, like, anytime I run into like that dude who's like, I've never seen Star Wars, or that person that's like, I've never seen Lord of the Rings, I just like, oh, okay, well, it's good. You should see it. Yeah. And then that's it. Yeah, you know what? Fucking do or don't. I don't care. Well, if you haven't seen Star Wars, that's kind of your problem,
if I like the person, I'm like, oh, we should watch Lord of the Rings. I'm like, I want to watch Lord of the Rings.
We should watch it together, yeah. That's dangerous,
like with
though.
Survivor, John. You did a good job with that, because you know a lot about Survivor, and I was a little like...
We should carry on watching that.
There's like 40-odd seasons of it, but you were like, hey, let's watch it together. Here's a season that I think you would really like, because it's got... You explained why you liked it in a way that made sense for us, where it's like, there's some good drama, there's some really interesting mesh of personalities, and it was like a fun experience for all of us. You did like a great job with that. You weren't just like, you gotta start with season 3 is the fundamental, and then it was just all this kind of like...
You've got to start from season 1 to fully understand why season 3 is so good.
Oh, you thought that was good? Yeah, I would have thought that was good if I was a
You would think that's good.
Wait till you see this, you idiot.
With Survivor, it's tough because there's 46 seasons now, and there's just like 20 years of history and stuff. And like, I've read so many threads of people being like, you gotta go back to the OG. And it's like, no, you don't. Don't do that. If they watch like the season 1 or 2 or 3, they're not going to be interested because it's like so old at this point.
Yeah.
But I think we watched season 37, David versus Goliath, which is like the best modern season. And that
I had a great time.
that was such a good season. By the way, I don't know if you and Kyle are keeping up with it, but the one that just aired, 46, is really good.
I really want to like set up some sessions to watch together, like you said, Gary. Again, I do miss that quite a lot.
I think we were watching 45 before, but I think 46 is much better.
46 is a banger. See, I want to watch it with you again if you'll have the time for it. Like,
yeah,
I'm excited.
We should try to set that up. I don't know if Kimmy will be able to, but maybe we can just do it.
If she's already watched it before, she can like dip in and out.
Yeah, she's watched it before. She's a little bit like John watches Survivor too much. So
yeah, we tried to set up on a group chat once for us to watch some like the current season of Survivor, I think, just to explain to the audience and Doug here. And I think Kimmy at one point was like, "This would be the third time that I would be watching this episode, so I'm just gonna wait until you guys catch up to the stuff
that's
I haven't
because we
seen
watched it
in
with
a
my
long
mom
time."
too. We watched Survivor with my mom too. So yeah,
It's like that's
It's
a lot of Survivor.
too much. That's a lot of Survivor.
Which is fair enough.
Oh, she likes it, but
That's actually kinda
watching
sweet.
3 times.
It's very sweet. I thought that was very sweet.
Yeah.
But she was like, just let me know when you guys catch up because I can't watch that episode again. I might scream.
Can't.
Which is pretty funny.
We'll have to do that then. We'll have to
Nice.
make plans.
Exciting.
Anyway, I really like that tweet. It really got me thinking a lot. And
Oh, thank
really
you.
Got me like going through like doing some personal inventory about the whole concept. Like, why am I this way? It's cool. I don't know.
Also
It's-
related
thanks,
to the thing that you said before, John, of things get really popular now and everybody talks about them for like a week, and then after that week it's like
Hawk 2.
silence.
I was thinking about the Hawk Tui.
Hawk
It's
2.
the
No.
binge watch culture, which I also kind of resent. Yeah.
I feel like if I said to someone now, hey, what about that Succession? They'd be like, "Pfft, whatever.
Oh yeah.
God,
Well, not
that's
in
the
this
best.
call, but
No,
I
that's
haven't
the
watched
best
it,
one
but
I
I
ever
know,
saw.
I know
You
I'm
haven't
gonna love
watched
it.
it.
I know I'm
yeah,
gonna love
dude.
it.
When you start
so
watching
now-
it, like no pressure,
Yeah.
but when you do start watching it, can we do a group chat and talk as you're going through it?
Absolutely.
So, because I would love, I would
feel
love
free
to.
dump your thoughts. Yeah.
I want to share those moments with you for your first time, even if we're not physically
Thank you.
together. I want
Yeah.
to talk with you about moments that happen, and just
I'll tell you
I-
my thoughts as I go through it so you can
I
enjoy
would,
with the
I
retrospect.
would love that. I would love
Yeah,
to
yeah.
be able to do that. That would be so much fun.
I'm
God,
actually
it's-
quite excited for an actor that I think hasn't gotten as much limelight, but who I really like is Kieran Culkin.
Yes.
Oh, Kieran Culkin
Oh.
is
He's had some real
brilliant
banger
in that show.
roles. I remember
Yeah.
watching Scott Pilgrim and being
Scott
like, he's
Pilgrim.
actually great.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he's
Which
great.
one is he in
Scott
Scott Pilgrim?
He's the gay roommate.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
he's good. I like
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
the slightly standoffish, aloof one that is really funny.
Yes. Yeah, he was great in that role. He honestly, like, there's a lot of great performances in Succession, but Kieran Culkin stands out even among all
Yeah.
of them. He holds his own
Agreed.
with Brian Cox, who's like an
Yeah.
incredible, like, all-time actor. Yeah.
Literally getting goosebumps. Like every
So
like
excited.
literally
He's a
every
scientist.
every single character can just absolutely. It's like there's an
What did you say about
argument.
scientist?
Different
Every
Brian
char-
Cox.
Okay, so the
Oh.
scientist man is Brian Cox as well.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Of the main characters in the series, I believe that there is an argument for every single one of them being the series best. Like I think you could actually like, there's nobody that somebody would say this was the series best character, best performance that I would be like, that's ridiculous. No way.
I have a
Like
question.
that's not good.
How many seasons are there?
4.
How
Yeah.
many episodes are in each season roughly?
10. I think?
10?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
doable.
10?
I could watch
Bro,
that.
it's-
It's an
maybe.
HBO show, so
it's
they do
it's
10
such-
episode seasons.
And it's such an easy watch. And again, in true HBO fashion, like they get in, they get out. They don't. There's no wasted moments, and then like they just ended it. And they ended
Did it get like a
perfectly.
proper ending then? It wasn't
Yes.
cancelled.
Oh, it's done.
my God.
Oh, it's finished.
A perfect ending in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
it's
ended
done.
last year, I think.
Oh, I do like a show
It's
that's
very
got an
good.
ending that's not just dragged out.
Not-
Yeah,
because
I'm
I'm
actually whether or not I get into a show increasingly nowadays is does it have like a proper ending or not? Because
Yeah.
fucking
It's got a good
Mindhunter,
ending, in my opinion.
I'm still bereft over the loss of Mindhunter. It was so goddamn
Mindhunter
good,
was
and it was
so
clearly they could have written like a good ending for it and just done like 1 or 2 more seasons and be like that was it. But instead, that was Netflix in like their shaky
Oh my
Let's Player
gosh.
era where they were just like cancel it. Second season to get as many
Yeah.
views, cancel it.
Honestly, most of Netflix's canceled shows, I'm like, I get it. But Mindhunter is
Yeah,
like
some of them are like,
one. That's like the one that I think of. That I'm like, what? Come on.
It was so high quality and clearly
Wow.
very, very good that
Yeah.
It's baffling.
I need to revisit mine. I started it. I saw one episode and I never
I've never even heard of it. I think the show that makes me the most sad that got cancelled. John, Doug, you have no idea what the show is, but you might. Psychoville.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that got cancelled. And that always broke my heart because I really liked that show.
Oh,
that was a very strange British comedy show. Very weird.
My rebellious nature made me want to be like, I know what that is, but
I was right with you, Doug. I was just like, I bet I have heard of it.
He's right.
It's good though. It's really weird though. It's very strange.
Most of my friends, and you two included, although Doug, some of your geographical knowledge is frightening, but you both have an Anglophile, as they call it, streak to you, where you quite like elements of British culture, and you get things that a lot of people might not. And it's partially because Gary and I, but I would say a lot of the time, I don't actually find myself having to like translate a lot of stuff for both of you, apart from like really hyper specific things. But
I don't think you guys are ignorant of British culture. It's just most British people don't know what Psychoville is.
I would say that as a compliment.
Right. Yeah,
I remember one time you guys were like quizzing me or something. You were like, favorite British TV comedy or something like that, and I was like, Peep Show, and you guys were like, ooh, Peep Show. He said
good
Peep
choice.
Show.
Good choice.
Good choice.
Yeah, excellent.
Excellent choice.
Thank you.
Doug, favorite British TV show?
Peep Show.
Yeah, good choice. Good choice.
What a lad. He's a real one.
Yeah, Kimmy quite likes British comedy too. She loves Monty Python, Fawlty Towers, like a lot of shows like
Only
that.
once did I strike out with Kimmy. I tried to show her an episode of Absolutely Fabulous when she was like, I want to study more British accents, and she just like,
AbFab is fucking awesome. She didn't like it.
You know Absolutely Fabulous, Doug?
I do. I grew up on Comedy Central, bro.
What?
I watched every fucking episode. Did I just
interesting?
I would not have expected you to be into that.
Hey man, I'm eclectic, bro.
That's what I'm saying though. You guys get it.
An enigma.
I'm built different, bro.
That's true. You have a variety of tastes.
I do.
See,
again,
this is what we're talking about.
Yeah. I know, because I sit here.
You're not just like I watch anime and play DVD.
Yeah, I play this character on TV, but then I pick like Pokemon Unite, and I've seen Absolutely Fabulous. Like I have like weird interests, weird niche interests that kind of sneak into my whole thing.
Doug, have you seen Gimme Gimme Gimme?
No, I've never.
You might enjoy that.
Shush. Is it like AbFab? Is it like AbFab adjacent or something like that? Is that what we're talking about?
It's kind of in a similar like setup type thing. I don't know how to describe it. Very like situational comedy, but UK style.
Yeah.
That one doesn't have as many like re-releases, I would say, though. No. It's a little bit more like lost to time. I mean, I'm sure you could find it, but I've had like a lot of like DVD releases and stuff.
Yeah. That was a bigger deal in the UK.
I will say, just on the subject of Kimmy and British TV shows, just last night she was binging a Big Fat Quiz.
Big Fat Quiz.
Yeah. She was watching like episode after episode of it. It's good. I watched them with her. It's
like the Big Fat Quiz of the Year kind of stuff.
Yeah, or whatever. Is it of everything? I think.
Do they ever do it when it's not just the year one, Gary? Or is it always like the yearly special one?
I think sometimes I think for a while they did ones that weren't yearly specials.
Just generally.
Yeah, they did general ones, but I think that was like that stopped.
I think the UK in particular, when we were in our teens, Gary, there was like this kind of period of time where like panel shows got really popular.
Oh,
yeah. It was like a new wave of panel shows. And then they made... I remember once when I was really young being like, they should make a TV channel that's just based on these shows. And then Dave came along, and Dave is a channel that's like designed to just be like all the fun panel shows. And now you get shows like Taskmaster is really huge now.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, that's like one of the biggest ones. And then Nevermind the Buzzcocks was a little bit before, but that was like a huge...
The Preston Wolfe. All
these like classic moments. And I do really like those shows quite a lot, actually.
Oh, John,
the UK
have you watched,
does them well.
8 out of 10 Cats.
Have I what?
8 out of 10 Cats. Have you seen that?
I have
show that to Kimmy if she hasn't seen 8
8
out of 10 Cats. Out of 10 Cats does countdown.
So
to
describe it, 8 out of 10 Cats is like people who they're like celebrities, but they're the type of celebrities who they do these type of shows. So they're like a writer or a comedian or something. And they have told the producers some like weird facts about themselves, but the producers have given them fake ones. And their role is to try and act like every single one of the stories is true. And
that's
the people
a
in the other
one. But I know what you're talking about.
Oh, no, that's Would I Lie to You? I'm sorry, that's Would I Lie to You. I've completely gotten
I think it's because
my bad.
they both have Lee Mack.
That's why. Yeah, it's because I'm thinking of Lee back. Sorry. What?
Y'all got tons of game shows that we don't have.
We do.
Over
What
here,
happens
it's
to
like
8
we
out of 10
got.
cats again?
That's just a quiz show. That's just a
Okay,
quiz
sorry, I
show.
totally fucked that up.
I love British quiz shows and panel shows and stuff like that. Because here, I mean, we got like Millionaire, which I'm pretty sure you guys had first. Family Feud, and then that's pretty much it these days. Besides like the long-standing ones, Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. I'm trying to think.
What's going with
anything else?
Family Feud.
With the briefcases?
Deal or no deal.
Deal or no deal.
Deal or no deal. Yeah, that
It's
one's
so
pretty-
different in the US though.
Yeah.
In the US,
it
it's
is.
all these ladies in these like really tight outfits being like,
Yeah.
"I hope that's not too big a number for you. You did it."
Yeah,
And
it's
in
so,
the UK,
yeah.
it's like somebody's like grandma
Yeah.
with a cup of tea.
they all got like a little
Jarring.
community, and whenever they like open it, and it's like the one they don't want. They're like, "I'm so sorry." It's like it's not
I'm
your
so
fault.
sorry,
It's
Sandra.
random. Well, Karen, fuck you.
That's funny. That's funny because in the U.S., when they open a disappointing briefcase, like for a moment, the lady will just be like, "Oh," but then she'll go back to being like,
Oh well, yeah.
And I'm
smiling.
sexy happy again.
"And I'm smiling again."
I do birthday parties, bar mitzvahs. I will do any event. I'm available for booking.
You just lost $1 million in front of me. I look cute.
But at least I'm hot.
What was that game show? Was it Davina McCall or something where they used to like put money on? They had to bet where they thought
Oh, that
It was-
I knew that wasn't gonna last. That was a
Oh.
little bullshit.
that was a crazy show. I always like Golden Balls.
There
with
was
Jasper
one.
Carrot. That was amazing.
There was a one like series or like one like week or 2-3 weeks maybe of Deal or No Deal where there was this elderly lady on it, and they started to call her the Black Widow because she always had like a really really high number in her box. And every time like a contestant was like, I'm gonna go with like, I'll just call her Deirdre, I can't remember her name. I'll go with Deirdre's box, and they were like, are you sure? Because she tends to have the high number. They were like, yeah, I'm feeling lucky, and she'd open it and it would be like the 250,000, and they were like, the Black Widow strikes again. It's just this like 82-year-old woman or whatever. I think she ended up winning a fair amount herself when she
She
got
had
to
loads
play.
in her own briefcase. She was like,
Yeah.
I'm not taking any offers. I'm just going to take whatever's in there.
She just, I don't know why, just every single time.
I love when they get a penny. When they get an offer and they're like, no, I'm going to stick with what's in here. And then they get a penny.
I'll give you fuck all.
Makes me giggle.
When they lose like all the high numbers and it's like, okay, I'll give you like 20 quid. There's your offer.
In the American version, do they have the banker? Is he a bastard in that as well?
Yeah, I think they call him the dealer. But yeah, he's
locked in.
He's like this shadowy guy, and he's kind of a antagonistic character.
Yeah, he was always very nasty to Noel Edmonds on our show.
But the antagonism is like unspoken. It's kind of like he does it through his deals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you don't think they're going to be able to make it? You don't think they've got the stuff? Well, the banker says you can have 2,000, deal or no deal.
You think they should eat shit and die?
Okay, we have gone.
Yeah, we're down the rabbit
very
hole.
fun
You know what
tangent.
sucks? What sucks
We
is
gotta get back on track.
I was gonna try and play the game and be like, speaking of the culture, we could talk about the Still Wakes the Deep because that's like it's like a Scottish game. But shouldn't we like at least mention the DVD has something coming out, or do we just not care?
Lara Croft's gonna be in that.
Lara Croft.
Yeah.
Lara
let's
Croft
go.
in game.
Lara Croft.
My hope is I don't dislike the kind of young Lara Croft from the prequel games, but I hope that one of the skins they release is like an older Lara Croft.
Yeah.
Where she's
Classic.
a little bit more.
Classic.
I was actually about to
Classic
use the
clothes.
forbidden word there to describe someone that has like a
She's
feminine
serving
confidence, serving.
You were gonna say
On
the
the
Doug
character.
word. Okay, the Doug word. Got it.
The
Serving
That word.
plunge.
The demonetization
Careful.
word. Wow, careful.
Careful. Even the AI is not perfect.
Well,
Gary. Careful.
actually, the YouTube like demonetization bot, it basically only cares about like American bad words. So like, clunge is probably fine. It probably does. It probably is like, huh? I don't know. What
Hasn't
that
watched
is.
the In-Betweeners, so doesn't know what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, we're not allowed to say that in case you're wondering because YouTube.
She's serving sideways
A hammer.
smile.
I got us in trouble.
There you go.
It's Doug.
Now we have to be careful what we say. It's my fault. All right,
Yeah.
And
Now
you
we're in
tried to
C-word
blame the British.
prison.
I did. I attempted before we started. I tried to blame it on the British, and I was promptly corrected and
You were
redirected. And
served.
now I'm being more careful with what I say.
Thank you.
Yeah, 2v8 comes out this month as well, and that's
Oh,
that's,
I'm
what,
looking forward
that's
to
what I'm
that.
excited about.
Okay.
I think that could be fun, and I would love it if any of you guys would like to team up at any point to play 2v8 with me. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
Yeah, we're gonna do that.
to do.
We're gonna do
Yeah.
that. We're gonna do that.
I think it's going to be silly, and I think that the more that they move into like these extra game modes and things that you can do that aren't just the core game loop, it should be a lot of fun. So excited about
Absolutely.
that. The patch
I'm
is
down
going
for
to be
2v8.
I'm glad they fixed the epilepsy mode that they had in the game for a bit though. After
Oh my goodness.
Can
Oh,
Can I
Trickster.
Can I
I'm not
speak
gonna
on
let
that?
behavior get away. Yeah. I was gonna. Like, Doug, you're the main reason I knew what the fuck was going on
Okay.
because I could see your Twitter.
Yeah, so there's this bug that's been in the game for months where the trickster, while he's hitting you with knives, could just cause your screen to just turn into like a strobe light party. I don't know if you guys
Right.
remember the one that used to happen in the basement for like a couple
Yes.
days
I
before they
don't
patched it.
know.
It was
I
that
remember
bad.
that.
It was worse than that. And there was like absolute evidence, physical evidence that this was happening. And again, you guys have heard me rant about the kill switch so many times. Like, why do you not just use your kill switch? And so there's like two pieces to this that piss me off really bad. It's like piece one is that the social media, there was people sharing clips, there was people reporting it. Like there was people talking about it for months before behavior even acknowledged it was a problem. And then even after acknowledging it was a problem, they finally kill switched. And there's two reasons why that's annoying. Number one, they could have kill switched it the first time they realized it happened and fixed the problem, A. But B, they eventually kill switched it. So cool that they did what they should have done 2 months ago now. But now also they've bent the knee to the Twitter mob, which means the next time the Twitter mob comes for them, they're going to want, you know what I mean? It's going to empower the Twitter mob to continually go for behavior
Pound
now.
them.
When all they had to do is just do it day one, the first time they realized it was a problem. And then they're just doing what they're supposed to do. Like if it takes you 2 months to do what you're supposed to do, now not only have you dropped the ball on that, but now you've empowered the mob. The next time they're pissed about something that doesn't matter, they're going to still think that they're going to get results. They're still going to come after you. Like just behavior continues to just shoot themselves in the foot constantly.
And also, I believe I'm seeing that hackers are now making it so streamers are getting banned.
They are spoofing on Texas Chainsaw Massacre and DBD, and I'm sure on Killer Clowns as well. Hackers are able to spoof other players' accounts. And so when their account gets flagged and banned, for instance, someone would spoof my account and they would go and use hacks. Physically, what they look like to behavior is that they're playing on my account.
Oh my gosh.
My account gets banned. And then I just go to log in and my account is banned because somebody else did it. And so it's a real problem, not for people like myself and you guys, because we're live streaming. We have audiences. We can talk to behavior. They'll be like, okay, clearly you weren't the one who was doing it. They'll take care of it. But this is going to be attacking small streamers and smaller players, people that don't have that sort of protection. So it's a really bad problem. That's terrible.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's
But 2v8. Woo!
But 2v8, yay!
Yeah.
So I had to just talk about the bollocks that's going on because it,
No, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did because honestly,
Typical.
it deserves to be talked about. And and again, if the game was, it calls all the way back to the conversation we had months ago where I was talking about how behavior really has a hard time with any sort of accountability in any sort of way. So they just kind of are vague on purpose, and they put a lot on the fog whisperers to take a lot of flack. They don't comment on a lot. They don't take a lot of action, and they just kind of, that's not our problem, not our fault. And it's kind
annoying
of
because I keep having this itch to go I kind of feel like playing DVD, and I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna play an indie horror game.
Yeah.
As you said earlier, Doug, there's loads of those. There's infinite amounts that I've missed out on.
Much.
So
too much good content. And
We'll
again,
probably talk about
Speaking of which,
DVD a bit more next time because Lara Croft will be out by then.
it'll actually be out, and we can actually talk about 2v8 and stuff, right? Yeah, for sure.
But John wants to talk about something. He's holding it. Here we go.
speaking of which,
There we go.
my pick for book club was Still Wakes the Deep.
Oh,
What'd
that
you
was
guys
what we were
think
meant
of
to
it?
play. Oh,
Shut up, dude. You played it. I watched you play it. Shut up.
Yeah, but what did you guys think? Did you hate it?
Can I tell you, it might come to some surprise to you that I played it. And
Doug
and then
did you finish it?
I finished it. I finished it.
I mean, I'd
played
hope
it
you would play it if
I
it was
played
for a book
it.
club.
I played it on the 4th of July. That was how I celebrated America's birthday. I did it.
Wow.
I played a Scottish fucking horror game, and I had such a good time that I went back and I watched John and Sinos play. they uploaded.
Oh wow!
Because I wanted to see your guys' reactions in real time to some of the stuff. I will be honest, I didn't sit down and watch the entire video start to finish.
Oh,
but
obviously,
I pulled the sections to be like, I want to see how they reacted to this.
So you didn't watch my VOD, fair enough.
No, I watched you live actually. I went into your stream while you were playing live. So yeah,
you're important too, Gary, and he loves you very much.
I was so into the game, the single player horror game, that I watched multiple playthroughs and played it myself. And yeah, I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was something completely out of my element, something that I never would have chosen for myself if I, and I thought I had a lot, you guys know, it's kind of, I think we all kind of, to a certain extent, we like to prejudge stuff and be like, okay, this is what I'm not going to like, or this is what I'm not going to, yeah, Gary, I know, exactly. I assumed I was going to hate it.
And post-judging with Gary. Lots of judging.
So I think that we know, and we're going to talk more about this when we go through, obviously, retro gaming, but I think that it's kind of well known that water levels can be very frustrating in video games, and you get very stressed out and very frustrated. I was assuming that I was going to be raging at the mechanics once, because I knew that there was going to be scenarios where you're underwater and you had to before you drowned, you had to make it to a certain point, and those kind of I just knew. I knew that I was going to be upset. Never once. I felt like they nailed it. It was challenging and it was hard and it was scary and it was stressful, but it was never frustrating to me, and not once. And I was like, there's no way.
That's awesome.
By the time, when I made it through the game, I was like, there's no way that none of these sequences underwater actually tilted me. And I even got stuck at one. There was one where I got stuck, and I was like, and I'm still not frustrated. Right. And so that's to me a sign of and again, I'm not a game designer. I'm not a Gary here, but that feels like a well-designed game to me, is that they can make it challenging and they can make a situation that would present as being potentially frustrating. And I was never frustrated. So that was awesome. That's one of my deep takes.
I'm glad to hear that you liked it, Doug. Yeah, because I wasn't sure, because I think we've had many single player games that haven't particularly resonated with you, but I'm glad that this one did.
Maybe I'm better.
For anyone that I just realized I probably should have introduced it. For anyone that doesn't know the game that we're talking about, Still Wakes the Deep. It's the latest game from developer Chinese Room, who also developed Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, Dear Esther, Amnesia, Machine for Pigs. They've got a long history of making horror games, specifically walking simulator types, so-called walking simulator. And I actually haven't liked previous games that they've done. I did not like Dear Esther. I did not like Amnesia Machine for Pigs. And I didn't play Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, but that's because I didn't like their previous games. But I decided to check this one out, and it's about a guy on an oil rig out in the middle of the ocean, and they drill into something that they weren't supposed to. And next thing you know, this Lovecraftian menace, this monster, is taking over the rig. And it's kind of got elements of Amnesia and elements of The Thing. And it goes on for I'd say about 4 hours or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and basically you're trying to find a way off the rig before eventually you decide to take matters into your own hands. But I really enjoyed it as well. Gary and Sino, sorry to...
Oh, you're good.
Go between you for the.
So do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first? Because I know you've got cultural links to this. So
yeah, I'm probably going to talk about the whole Scottish angle. So you should go first, Gary.
Okay. Okay. I thought the game was good. Yeah, I liked it. I think the underwater bits. I'll say there was one moment where I think I hit a bug. I kept trying to make this jump, and I kept falling down, and I kept putting me in the water. I was really confused about what was going on. Eventually, I just swam and found another way through, so it was fine. But aside from that, the underwater bits didn't get on my tits at all. I thought they were all really well paced and well designed. I actually the level design I thought was phenomenal throughout. The one time where they make you go through quite a dingy part of the water, I really appreciated that it was a part of the level you'd already done when it wasn't flooded.
So
you knew where to go, which I really liked. I mean, Sino will probably talk about the voice acting, but
the voice acting.
Probably the best voice acting I've ever seen.
Amazing. I was blown away. The voice acting and the writing and just the characters in general were really well done.
I loved that they translated for us too. They would translate the English version of the Scottish phrase, right? So we would. Did you guys notice that in the subtitles?
I did. I actually turned that off.
Oh, really?
I wanted to hear the Scottish words. But yeah, I did notice that they did that by default. That was pretty cool.
To me, that's cool because then I know what they're trying to say. Like I get it. Like I don't know the slang, right? So for me, I thought that was a neat addition.
Yeah, that's the US English subtitles, but if you use the UK English, it just doesn't translate it.
Yeah, it just
I had the US.
Yeah, it's on by default, I think.
I think
that's a mission accomplished though. If it helps you, kind of.
Oh yes, yeah.
Get in there.
Yeah,
I thought
definitely.
That's
the point of it.
I loved it. I thought that was, and again, I guess maybe that's really kind of funny how like from different cultures, it's like an entirely different experience. Because to me, I was like, that stood out immediately. I was like, that's so cool that they're babying me like that. So I know what they're saying. And for you guys, you're just like, who needs that?
I think for me, when I realized that I was going to love the game, was in the very, when you get to the cafeteria. That was the room where I was like, oh, this is going to be a brilliant game. Because Doug, I don't know if you saw that part of the stream, but I spent about 5 minutes just walking around that room, maybe 10 minutes just looking at stuff. Because I loved the way the Christmas decorations were put around, the small details. Sorry if I'm boring, you know.
No.
Gary, I have insomnia. I yawn even when I'm having fun, so don't worry.
But there was, like, I was looking at the food, and I was like, that looks incredible. And there was one detail in particular that I was like, this game is going to be incredible. And it's such a small detail. It's the coffee mugs. There's 2 coffee mugs on a table, and they had different levels of coffee in them. And I was like, that is such an attention to detail that this game is going to be amazing. And it was. Every single part of the game, like, I saw, like, one minor visual issue. There's a couple of bugs that I bumped into, but generally I thought the game was really pristine. The level design was great. The sound design was great. It made me think of so many different video games whilst I played it. I got like a little bit of Dead Space with the phone call stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a bit. I thought the audio had a bit of Bioshock mixed with Jeff Wayne's. Obviously, there's the underwater. It felt very much like Soma at times, especially with that first sequence where you're like climbing through that bit with the chat running around.
I think I made a point at one point during my playthrough. It's a horror game that feels like it's been made by people who play horror games.
Yes.
And it avoids a lot of the pitfalls where you're just like, why do they keep putting these things in that just don't work?
Yeah.
Do they not play the other horror games that do this and realize it's annoying or whatever? So I totally feel that.
And like on that point, I appreciated how is his name Kaz?
Yes, Kaz, the protagonist.
I liked how he said, "Oh, I'll go do that." Like it wasn't always being told to go do things. He would like offer,
and sometimes he challenges it. He's like, "Why should I be the one that does that?"
And when he's told to go do things, like he gets a bit pissy about it. Like my favorite moment, because being British with it, I was like, when he's like looking through the window and he has to go light the flare for the oil thing. I don't know.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes. I know. I know.
And when he was like, "Fine, I'll go do it," and I was like, "Put middle finger up," instead of "Don't do a thumbs up." Put middle finger up, and he did. Yes, this is so British.
The guy's asking for like a sign that he's hearing him and he's ready.
And he's like, "Fuck you." Yeah, that was so good. Yeah,
I was like, "This is so British. It's so perfect." I think the sense of humor was perfect throughout. It felt British, and I also really liked. So I know I'm rambling about it, but like,
go.
No,
I really liked that I don't know what the monster was. I don't know what it was. It was left a mystery.
Lovecraftian, bro.
And exactly. Because I was more invested in Kaz's story.
True.
And the crew.
Well, it's a character-driven story, ultimately. Yeah, I think that's one way it stood apart.
It's such a short game that made you so invested in these characters, too. Like, I was like, damn, I really care about these people. Like, it's not easy for me to care that much.
One thing I will say, from what I understand, the diabetes stuff was not correct in the game.
Yeah.
I actually asked Masha about this.
Yeah.
Because I
saw Masha's tweet about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll talk more about how great a lot of the research was culturally in a second, but I did want to ask Masha about one of the characters who has diabetes, and it's like a whole plot point about whether he'll survive or not because he's having problems with his diabetes on the ship. They made a common mistake where basically diabetes, I want to make sure I get this right, insulin helps you regulate your blood sugar level, but a lot of the time in like Hollywood, for example, they kind of portray it as like, I don't have enough sugar, so I need more insulin instead. But it's kind of the opposite, where it's like, if you have too much, the insulin helps you regulate it.
Yes.
So they do this kind of common mistake where they make it like, oh, I'm really lethargic, I need help, I need more sugar. It's like, if you were hypo, glycemic compared to hyperglycemic. They usually get that wrong. So hyperglycemia, sugar levels being too high, is when you need the injection. But what they're actually depicting in the game is he's sweating, he's clumsy, he's like struggling to talk. That's hypoglycemia, which is not enough sugar, which means you would commonly like eat a jam sandwich because it's full of sugar. Yeah. It's got carbohydrates in it, and that helps you get your sugar levels up. Yeah. And so ironically, when he's having what is depicted as a hypoglycemic moment, he is the one character who would find that easiest to deal with because he's surrounded by food. So he would just eat carbohydrates around him, and that would help that.
Have a Lucozade, problem solved.
And Kaz even directly recommends that at one point. He's just like, you should see a jam sandwich, and he's like, no. No, I can't just do that. Yeah.
That's actually, if you're hypoglycemic, that's actually what could help you a lot. If you had too much blood sugar, then he would need the injection and all that stuff. But they just got that wrong, which is weird because
it's
apart
also
from that,
well researched.
It's very well researched. Yeah. Like, it's a strange miss, but it's like one thing that they.
It's a really weird miss because like they could have just asked one person. Like that.
Yeah, Masha explained it to me in like 2 seconds, and I was like, oh, I get it. So it was weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, my opinion of the game, very high. I give it a 9 out of 10, and I'll get back to that rating at the end after Sinnoh's spiraled around, hopefully, because I want to rant about something.
I have a complaint. I have a complaint about the game too, like a minor one. But if you want to go first, or I can just tell you now, it's whatever you guys want to do.
No, you go ahead.
I only had one. My only complaint was, and again, like I know that the game was a narrative game and stuff, but like I wanted the McKinney final boss battle, so to speak, to be more epic. Like I was like, oh, that's over.
Oh yeah.
Like I really thought because McKinney is like he's the villain from beginning to end, right? He's the boss that was awful, and then like he turns into like the
big head.
Yeah, the big head monster. Like you have a very short 1-on-1 1v1, and then it just is over. And when I got the achievement, like I was like, damn, that's really the end of that.
I didn't even notice he died. I was like, I got the achievement. I was like, oh.
Yeah, exactly, right, Gary?
When did he die?
So that's my own. That's the only thing that kept it for me from being like a 9 out of 10 into a 10 out of 10. And that's because if it had a satisfying like final boss battle, I would have been like, damn, this is a perfect game. But I felt a little underwhelmed with the McKinney because I was when I met McKinney, I'm like, this is going to be the last boss. This is going to be the final showdown. This guy's going to be like the last hurdle to climb before you finish the game, and then it just didn't feel like running through the finish line. It just kind of felt like an afterthought. But again, because it's a narrative-driven game, it probably was more of an afterthought. They're like,
it's like you acknowledge that it's not really supposed to be that kind of game, but you still feel a little like you kind of wanted that payoff. I totally get that. I think that's very fair point.
Genuinely my only criticism of the game. So if you want to
when he died, he should have said, "You're fired."
You're fired.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I do have one more thing. One random thing that I want to say. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
No, I'm glad that you've got lots to talk about.
I got stuck for an embarrassing long amount of time at the situation when the helicopter's hanging. Because I thought you had to jump onto the propeller and have it lift you up. I didn't realize you could. We used to know you had to jump across and catch the helicopter and climb it to the next level up. I thought you had to jump because the propeller is going, and the propeller has collision. I figured out, and I died like 100 times trying to jump on the propeller and have it lift me up to the next place. And then I was like, wait a second, maybe this is not what you're supposed to do.
Yeah,
it's not a platform game. Maybe I should try a different strategy, and then it worked. So. But I'm not upset at the game. Yeah. That was me being an idiot, not the game's fault.
Maybe there should be some yellow paint.
Oh yeah, the yellow paint stuff. Yeah. I liked that because honestly the environments were so detailed that sometimes I was like, I don't know where I'm supposed to go.
Oh, I love yellow paint. I'm saying that maybe there needed to be more for Doug to.
Oh, okay.
So it might not be your fault, Doug. Maybe there should be more yellow paint there.
I'm a big fan of the yellow paint. I know it's like a big like point of like gamer discourse, especially with like Resident Evil 4 remake. There was a lot of yellow paint scenarios, and they're like, "Why do we need this?" And then game devs were all over Twitter trying to explain it's like, well, because we've tested this sort of thing before, and we've noticed that if we don't have stuff like this, you guys don't know what to do, and then you get frustrated, you get mad, and you quit the game, and you blame us. So yeah, that's in there because of you. But I'm a big fan of it, especially with like more graphical fidelity and more detailed environments. Sometimes everything just looks kind of equally detailed and there's no clear path. So I like the paint, and it helped me many times.
Gamers don't appreciate how you being able to quickly go, I do that, is actually fantastic game design. If you don't notice something, It's perfect. When you smash a box because you just know that it's breakable because of a yellow X or something, that's good.
Yeah.
No, sorry.
Agreed.
Should I?
Yeah.
Should I talk about the thing now?
I think so. Yeah. I'm not gonna cut you off.
Waiting.
Well, okay. Yeah. I think to kind of echo a little bit of what you said, Gary. Obviously, being from Scotland myself, it's a lot of people were kind of interested to see how I would react to this game, and there's a little part of me that wanted to see if they could do it right, you know. And Scotland and Scottish people, we're not starved for representation. We're not. It's not like a woe is me moment, but it does tend to be very fantasy. I've seen a lot of like dwarves when you hear Scottish accents and stuff,
like the Hearthstone guy.
Yeah. Which it's good fun, definitely good fun, all that stuff. But you don't always get as much Scottish representation that isn't very like kind of tropey like that. And I think you can't really complain that much because there's some cultures that never get any representation at all. But I really wanted to see if they could do it correctly, especially because I wanted to see if I could understand everything that they were saying. I sometimes feel almost trilingual when people's get like really into it. Like some of these words are so obscure, but like I just get it. I know what they're talking about, and I think to myself like, I can't believe I know that. And then other friends will just be like, what the hell is that word? But it was like so accurate. And I think the triumph of this game is not only is the voice acting very like on point, very real, it's like the whole emotional way the game feels very, I'll say Scottish. I mean, it's probably very British, but it's like this kind of working class Scottish vibe. The kind of gallows humor, the kind of like holding up the middle finger. It's like, it's not just all of their accents and the way that they're speaking sounds Scottish. It feels emotionally and spiritually Scottish. And I think that's the triumph, you know, like when a certain character dies and there's like that kind of emotional response to it. It wasn't very Hollywood man kneels down into the rain and goes, no, and the rain falls down on top of him, like a kind of cheesy moment. It was like, I fucking love that guy, you know. And it was like there was this kind of like aggressive side to it that felt very authentic to me. So I would say that's like the biggest accomplishment for me, is just how spiritually Scottish it was. They just nailed it. They absolutely nailed it. And the voice acting's really good. A lot of the vocabulary. There was one or two words that I was like, I don't think I've heard a Scottish person use that in my lifetime. Maybe it's like a Northern Scotland thing, or it's like such a deep dive that it even was slightly over my head. But like, yeah, a lot of the words I was like, they have been there and done their research. The loading screens, you might have noticed, one part of the loading screen has a man with a traffic cone on his head. Along with like seagulls and stuff like that. And that is actually a statue of the Duke of Wellington in Glasgow, where people keep putting a traffic cone on his head, and then the police kept taking it off, and they're like, don't do that.
I think I've heard about that.
Yeah, and Glaswegians are like, no, we're just going to keep putting the cone on its head, because that's like a sort of sense of humor sort of thing. Taking the piss, you know? Yeah, nailed it. Great game. Like I said, it feels like, I love the amount of times where it feels like other characters are trying to also do something about the situation too. It doesn't just feel like they're all NPCs waiting there being like, Kaz, you have to go do this and I'll do nothing. It's like they're all moving around the oil rig and trying to work things out. So yeah, it was great. Fantastic.
And I will say,
sorry, go ahead, Doug.
I was going to say, from the perspective of somebody who's been like a sailor, I was in the U.S. military, I was in the Navy for 6.5 years. Like it nailed the vibe. And again, maybe this is just like cross-cultural, but it nailed the vibe of like the working class, blue collar, like working on the ocean kind of people. Like it felt so much like being back in the military. It felt like the way that the interactions and like you said, like you're not like, oh, I'm so sad. It's like, you motherfucker. Like it's just it has that like roughneck, blue collar vibe to the whole way you interact, and everybody felt like they were in place. Like there was nobody out of place. There's nothing weird. It's just, I don't know. It just nailed that vibe to me. Like it brought me back to my time working on the ocean.
Yeah. Did you also get the kind of vibe of like, especially for the time it's set, there's a lot of this kind of like, some of them really want to like talk about unionizing. There's the one guy in the canteen who's like, his heart's in the right place, where he's like obsessed with unions, and you can tell that they've like heard him talk about it over and over and over. And then there's Rennick, the boss, who's just like, I don't want these unions. It's like very that kind of time period before, like, you know, a lot of like Thatcher was going to come in afterwards in the 80s in the UK. It was like they were there, honestly.
Yeah.
The level of detail, I was like,
really good.
were you actually on a Scottish oil rig in like the late 70s? And then you made this video game. Congratulations.
Yeah, I will say, like, for Chinese Room, I didn't like some of their previous work, like Machine for Pigs and Dear Esther, but they both had a fantastic story. So I think narratively, these guys are top notch. And now I kind of want to play Everybody's Gone to the Rapture.
I can't play that.
And some of their other games that I haven't played, because I'm like, man, you know, maybe I have a different appreciation for it now. I kind of want to replay Machine for Pigs, honestly, because that had a great story, but it just, you know, was released in like 2014, and it was basically a walking simulator, and it was not what anyone wanted, including me at the time, out of an Amnesia title. But now I'm like, I kind of want to revisit that, because just narratively, they've got it over there at that studio, I think.
And on that point, I have one thing that I need to just kind of get off my chest about Still Wakes the Deep, and it's IGN. I decided to look at what their review was like for it. What do you think they gave it?
4 out of 10.
No, it's not Choo Choo Charles. It wasn't that bad.
Okay.
They gave it 6.
6?
Yeah, and I didn't read through all the details and stuff. I just wanted to, because I was just on stream, but I skipped through to see what their final judgment, why they gave it a 6. And one of the comments they make is basically that there's not enough to explore. There's not enough exploration in the game, and something about that just boiled my piss. Because like the game isn't about exploration. They're judging it. I don't know what they're comparing it to, like Elden Ring or something. But it's like the game is a on rails narrative, very well constructed story game with excellent details and voice acting throughout. Like it does its job almost perfectly. And they're like going, yeah, but I like searching for things, so 6 out of 10. I was like, who is reviewing these games? Like Choo Choo Charles got a 4 out of 10. This is getting a 6 out of 10.
That's insulting.
Yeah, it's fucking ludicrous to me. It just really annoyed me because I was like, is there like just a sheer lack of appreciation for a game being like what it's trying to achieve?
What it is, right? Yeah.
I think, here's what I think. I think IGN, I think their rating system is very flawed, because they've basically they've all but said that they kind of inflate their scores for the more popular games. Like they give AAA games like 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, stuff like that, because gamer bros get so mad at them. They're like, you gave, you know, I don't know, just random game, you gave Breath of the Wild an 8 out of 10. You know, they act like it's a 0. And so they inflate those scores for the more popular games, but they can't just give every game an 8 out of 10. So I think they kind of use indie games as their punching bags. Yeah. That's my you know, unscientific theory, because like, I mean, how else do you explain Choo Choo Charles a 4? Yeah. Still Wakes the Deep a 6. These are not 4 and 6 rating games, but they feel like they can get away with it because not as many gamer bros are going to be, you know, all pissy about it.
It just feels like they're basing every game as like, well, Elden Ring's a 10. Again, it doesn't work as a 0, and like everything has to fit into that ratio system. Right. It's like, no, every like Choo Choo Charles, that's a 7 out of 10 game.
Choo Choo Charles, yeah, at least 7.
Yeah,
right?
It's like 7
like
to an
one
8,
dude
like,
made that game.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. Like it does its job pretty perfectly. Still Wakes the Deep, it nails its job. It knocks it out of the park. 9, 10 easy.
I think it's one of those things where I'm okay if people dislike something. I'm very careful about that intellectually, to just be like, if I like something and you dislike it, that is okay. But there's a difference when you see why somebody dislikes something, and if you think that the reason's kind of dumb, that's when I start to feel like I want to criticize it in the first place. And there's also this kind of thing sometimes with game reviewers where I don't want just like a complete fanboy to review things all the time, but if somebody's not even remotely interested in a certain type of game, I don't know how useful it is to have a review, unless it's like a game that's trying to reach a bigger audience, and it's like, as somebody who doesn't play this, what was it like for me to try and get into it? But like, if somebody who hates horror games and thinks that they're all dumb is told by a boss, hey, you have to go review this weird indie horror game, of course they're probably going to be like, it was kind of dumb and I didn't like it.
Yeah, one of the things they said they didn't find it scary at all. And I was like, really? Like, you didn't get into the atmosphere at all? You didn't feel anything in this game?
See,
and it reminds me of Choo Choo Charles, where their review, they didn't find it funny. I was like, well, why are you reviewing it?
Yeah,
That's ridiculous.
That's wild to me because the dread factor was insane.
Saying it's not open world enough.
Yeah, like there wasn't enough exploration.
Weird
Oh, that's not the
complaint.
type of game it is. Yeah.
One thing actually I also noticed is like there's no like collectible.
Which I was happy about because
I was quite a relief.
I had no FOMO. I was just walking from one door to the next. Yeah, and if I wanted to stop, it's just because I was curious. I was just naturally curious. I wasn't like looking through every corner for like, can I pick up the red chicken? I've already got the orange one. It's like,
yeah, because I found myself staring in the corners of just because like I was loving the world building, the environmental set dressing. Whoever was in charge of, there was a few of them because I remember looking at their names. But those, they knocked it out of the park. The environmental set dressing.
The environmental was,
beautifully
the environmental was
crafted.
amazing.
That's art. This game is art.
It's very good. It's very, very good.
I was looking at the environment because I wanted to look at it. I wasn't scanning the environment because I felt a weird simian brain. I want to pick up the thing. And that is one of my biggest complaints. It's quite an old game now, so I realize that might be a bit of a dated thing. But BioShock Infinite has too many things in bins.
Oh,
constantly
I want to replay that game soon. I'm going to be sounding.
I'm going to
counting
talk
the
about that in the last episode. Replay Infinite. Yeah.
I haven't played it before, so I'll play it too when you guys play.
Maybe that should be a book club game at one point.
We could always just play it just for fun. Talk about it.
We could do it.
You're not to have me assignment. But.
I just want to mention one thing real quick before we get too away from it about the review thing. Like on just the subject of IGN giving this a bad review and like, that's it. One guy didn't like it. There was, I wish they would do this more often where it's not just like one guy reviews a game. Because like IGN has a massive staff, right?
True.
Get 2 people in there. Get 3 people in there, right?
I think they should get like people. Do you know how you see a ghost hunting show, right? And they've got a team of them. There's the skeptic, there's the psychic, and then there's someone else. Like they get all these people to give their thoughts on it. Why don't they do that with reviews? Get a game designer in there. Get like a reviewer and get a professional gamer. I don't know. Get all of them.
I'm reminded one of my favorite review sections growing up was there was this magazine I got. It was published by Wizards of the Coast. It was called Top Deck, and it was mostly about card games like Magic the Gathering, Pokemon stuff. But then they had like a video game section. And you could read these game reviews, and one of them, a column that they had every month, was like these 2 guys. They would each pick like 2 games per month, and they just go back and forth about it. It was like a dialogue between them, the review. And they would disagree about games. Sometimes one of them would give a game a 9, the other one would be like, this was a 2. And it was interesting to read their different perspectives because you weren't just getting one side of it. You weren't just getting the guy that was like, this is a 2, when the game's clearly not objectively a 2,
And you'd hear their argument, so you could be like, oh, I think I glue more with that guy's opinion, so I'll probably like it.
And it helped that they were funny. They were like clearly friends and they had banter. Sometimes they just insult each other. And I loved reading that column. And I wish there was something more like that today at these game publications. Everything wasn't just so watered down.
Yeah. I've seen some game publications do that before, but the 2 things obviously is I do bear in mind when it comes to reviewing games is that a lot of the time these people probably aren't getting a lot of time to play through these, and I think that somewhat might
that's fair.
show
like, we don't know what's going on.
True.
You've got like 1 week to play this, and then you have to like formulate an opinion on it, and it's like if you're going through a game as quickly as possible because you want to make sure you hit a deadline, it's gonna sometimes, mind you, Still Lakes the Deep is not that long, but I bear that in mind that it can be tricky, I imagine, sometimes with time pressure. Also, if you're going to do like the group review thing, sometimes it feels a little. I've seen publications try and do it, and it feels too much just like it's 2 pals with their own in jokes over and over, and it's like, I don't completely hate that, but I think you need to build that up. Publications need to like establish like a group of people maybe, and have them bounce off each other for a bit, rather than just like, we've decided to let 2 people do this review, and then it's just they're pals and they just talk about whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
but
for me,
it's a cool idea.
Yeah, that review just annoyed me because it was like, what do you mean there's not enough exploration? That's a different style of game.
Right. Yeah, it's like that infamous review of what is it, Pokemon Ruby, where they're like 7 out of 10, too much water.
Oh yeah.
Because there was like too much water to navigate in the game or something.
Really
which
funny.
I mean, honestly, I don't disagree, but it was like, why is this a main criticism of the game?
Yeah, there is quite a lot of water in that game, but that's somewhat
part of
the
story,
point,
isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the difference between finding somebody to review a game that at least has like a base interest versus not. But at the same time, of course, if you ask like a Nintendo fanboy 1997 who loves Pokemon to review Pokemon games, and he was just like breathlessly like every single one is perfect and amazing. It's like, I don't know if I'm going to get much out of that, because if I play it and it's a buggy piece of shit, but you just love Pokemon that much, then it might not be the review for me either, you know?
I think John, you might be right about their rating system as well, because maybe they said, oh, there's not enough exploration. So like, what do I say is wrong with this game? I'm not allowed to give it a 10. Like the 8 to 10 is AAA only. 10s. So I have to give this 7 and below.
Like I don't know how else to explain Choo Choo Charles getting a 4. That's like baffling to me.
Yeah, because that game,
it's not even a bad indie game. It's a good indie game. Like surely they review some bad indie games.
I don't think IGN does.
And what's your metric for reviewing a game that isn't designed to be like an Ocarina of Time epic quest?
Yeah, that's what's so confusing to me.
It's supposed to be like a 5-hour kind of short experience that sits with you, like a good little movie kind of vibe.
Yes.
It's like, do you give that lower rating because it didn't like make you feel like you had been on an epic quest like Ocarina of Time did, or do you give it a high score because for what it set out to do, like Choo Choo Charles, it was short, sweet, or made you laugh?
Yeah, and it was tense. It ticked all the boxes that it was trying to do.
Yeah. I don't want to get too into the Choo Choo Charles, review, but like, damn, it just rubs me the wrong way.
I feel like we care about that more than most people. For us, that's like our Roman Empire, the Choo Choo Charles review.
I'm a Choo Choo Charles fighter. I'm a stan.
Like,
I'm the Choo Choo Charles champion.
I know what it's like to build a game on your own and then put it out there. And if like IGN was like 4 out of 10, it's not Elden Ring, I'd be like, oh fuck you.
Yeah.
Nightblade, it's too linear.
It's not enough
open world exploration.
You can't even go outside the house.
You can't level up. I can't
There's no
raid.
RPG elements. You can't shoot the blights. Not until you get to night 6 anyway. Yeah.
Night 7.
Night 7, you're right. Yeah, because night 6 is you constructing the gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, this week's game, Nightblight.
No, I need to play. I was literally just thinking, I need to play.
At one point, Gary,
you would literally do that though. Like you joke, but
if you want
not be surprised.
If you want codes to it, I can give you them.
I haven't played Nightblights. I've only watched it being played.
So you haven't played Nightblights?
I'd refuse.
This is our friend.
I'd refuse.
I know, but
I need to play it, and I would refuse a code. I'm going to pay full price for it.
No, don't.
Won't even buy it on sale.
I get nothing out of it. I have a code.
Oh, for real? You don't get anything out of it?
Yeah, it just goes into like paying for the Unity license at this point. So
I think I kind of want to, if I did play Nightblights, I would like to go back to it and have you talk about what it was like to develop it and what you've learned since, or what you would do differently.
I would love to do an interview afterwards or during. I don't mind.
Oh, y'all could be on a call while you play it.
Show me how to beat it.
Yeah. Well, I'll do
You
my
said it's
best.
hard.
It's a fucking hard game. Although you've been playing FNAF, right? So
yeah,
you might be all right. Because they get quite hard, don't they? I haven't
No,
played
I
it.
Yeah, they do.
I haven't gotten very far, so.
Yeah, FNAF 1 towards the end is pretty.
John's probably the
tough.
best gauge here because you've finished it. Like I'm a bad judge because I built the fucking thing.
Nightblights. Friday is no slouch. Friday is a tough night, and it gets harder as you go along. It's got a great difficulty curve to it, though.
Oh,
that was one of my favorite things about it.
What's your game pick for this week, though, Gary? Sorry. Oh, sorry. No, John, you go first.
Rewarded for it. You're rewarded for the difficulty because when you get to Saturday, you get to shoot the blights.
You get to build a gun, and then Sunday you get to shoot.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you get a reward. It's not just
Spoilers.
like, yeah, you beat it. You get to like take out all your frustration on them.
That's clever. I should play that game.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you codes. We can talk about it next time if you like, because I'd like to talk about why that is the way it is, because that's cool.
Yeah.
I've got all the reasons. But this week's game is not that. I have decided to pick something very cute that is very different to Still Wakes the Deep. And I can see the enthusiasm on everyone's faces of a cute game. I want to play a game called Little Kitty Big City.
All right. Sounds good. Little Kitty Big City.
Yeah, I believe it's the developer's first game. It's like you just play as a cat in a big city. and I haven't played it yet.
me
It just
see
looks
if-
adorable. I've been meaning to play it for ages.
I'm getting a kind of this is what people first thought Stray was going to be, but Stray is actually kind of somber and
Stray's
interesting
very
and cool.
I think Stray's more of a tech demo for like the cat. That's how I felt about Stray. I felt like they did some technology.
I think that's how it came around. Is like it was a tech demo that they decided to make into a whole game.
yeah,
But
I
it's
think
quite
Stray's
a
great.
kind of somber cyberpunk kind of story, just told through like the whimsy of a cat. Whereas this is all whimsy.
Yeah, this looks totally
Yeah,
adorable.
I'm looking at screenshots right now.
It looks great. It looks adorable. No, it looks great.
It's very cute.
It's
looking.
short, 2.5 hours. It says,
Yeah.
so.
Gary, did you ever play Calico?
No,
Okay.
I know of it.
This reminds me of Calico. It's another cat game, basically.
Yeah, I remember Kimmy playing Calico, and then Chat wanted me to play it, and I kind of refused.
Well, yes, the Calico crew, as I call them, is
Yes,
very
yes.
insistent. They're very insistent.
But
But it is good. That is a good game, too.
I will. Yeah, I'd probably love it.
I
like-
went in preparing to hate it, and I liked it.
I love adorable games. Like if it's got animals and it's cute, I'm gonna love it. I'm like such a
Yeah.
weird blend of like horror and just cute. So yeah, Little Kitty, Big City should be a nice short one, nice and chill.
I'm excited.
Surprise, surprise, Gab has played this game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who could have seen that coming? Okay, cool. I'm going to add this to my cart.
Cool. Hopefully,
Yeah, I literally just bought it. I'll play it this weekend. I'm actually I could.
I'm
use a
excited for
cute game.
Doug because your face is lit up, so I'm quite.
I love these. Yeah, I told you guys. I'm like, you guys don't. You think I was joking? But when that Hello Kitty Island Adventures comes out, we're playing that shit. Like, I
Someone
like.
brought that
I
up in my
like
chat
adorable
today,
stuff.
and I looked at what the game, and I was like, I'd play this. I'd play the shit out
Yeah,
of this.
somebody was in my chat from your community being like, "Oh, Gary's not gonna. I can't believe you're gonna make Gary play Hello Kitty Island Adventures." I was like, "You really think Gary's gonna? Do you know Gary?
Yeah.
Like, you
My
think he's not
immediate
gonna
thing
like
was
it?"
like,
But at
which ones
all.
can I romance?
Yeah, like why?
Yeah.
Yeah, why is he going to have a problem with it? Why are you telling me that he? Like, this is a real.
I'm going to build a
disconnect.
cute farm and with cute animals that I can make my own character that has its tongue point out of its mouth. Oh, adorable.
Yeah.
I talked
you
to
guys-
Gary. Oh, John.
Sorry. No, go ahead, Sino.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I was talking to Gary actually about trying to pick something for the next Spine Chill myself. That like Hypnospace Outlaw you guys liked, and then Forbidden City was a bit of a clanger for two of you.
Mixed reviews.
Yes, whereas John and I
Which
were
two?
chatting away about it.
Yeah. Right.
Who could guess?
What do you mean?
I loved it, no space though.
Yeah,
So did I.
It's not
Can
like
I-
we all have to like every pick, but I wanted to pick
Yeah,
something that
right.
we'd all be able to chat about for next time. And so I was asking Gary, like, what type of narrative-based games do you like, if you do like any? And you said you kind of like narrative-based games that are like a bit dumb or silly or cute.
Yeah.
So like you like Danganronpa because it's a
Oh, I
bit.
love Danganronpa, yeah. Persona 4, loved that.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. Yeah, anybody who doesn't know Gary, like a game like Little Kitty Big City or like kind of whimsical, kind of cutesy. Like you played through a lot of Dream Daddy.
Oh yeah, I love
Which is
Dream
a bit
Daddy's
silly.
Great, love that game.
Yeah. So that is Gary. If you don't know Gary, you're beginning to get the Gary experience now. You're learning.
Yeah, everyone's like, oh, I thought he was just an asshole.
You do like some narrative based games, but you like it when it's a little
I need,
silly.
yeah, I need a little bit of, as you said, the whimsical is probably the right word for it.
You don't want to talk
If
about
it gets too serious, I'm like,
philosophy immediately.
Yeah. I'm not. I think me and Doug
John
are
and I
similar,
do.
we're not big deep thinkers about this kind of stuff. That's one. I just need like something cute. Like I've been playing through Sandrock at the moment. My time in
I
Sandrock.
always see you on Sandrock.
I
Like,
fucking
you're like,
love
you're like
it.
obsessed, man.
It's
Every
so
time
cute.
I look, Gary's
When you
playing
go on a
Sandrock.
when you go on a date with someone, they hold hands. Oh, my heart!
Oh my God, they hold hands.
It's so cute. Oh, I think it's better than Stardew.
Oh, okay. Now I know you're just trolling.
I
I
think
knew that John was gonna have that kind of
That's
reaction to you saying
I-
that.
absolutely
I
not
love
true.
Stardew Valley, but Sandrock's
Do
really
you?
good.
Do you?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
trying to question your loyalty.
Who went to the live orchestra, John?
Oh, you brought that just so you could say.
No, I
so
just
you
happen
could
to be
say
wearing
it's better
it,
than
it's handy.
Stardew. And look, I have a Stardew shirt. Do
That's
we all
not
have game
Stardew.
shirts, by the way?
Yeah, that's.
Unfortunately, yeah.
No,
I have
I've
Little
got-
Nightmares on.
Oh, they're
I
in video
ruined
games.
it.
They're in
There
Dead
are
by
in
Daylight.
games. It's true. Can I say something about
Sinnoh has Silent Hill too.
Yeah.
I hate to do this because I almost always take Gary's side, but can I say one thing about the Stardew concert? Like, you can't really flex that because I sort of like have been known for talking shit about Stardew, and I tried to go to the Stardew concert, and the tickets got sold out. Like, I would have also been able to say
for
that.
real fans.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, I guess so. Also, Gary, when you did that, have you been
You can't call
lifting?
yourself a real fan anymore.
Have you been lifting?
Oh, Gary's
Gary?
got guns.
You
He's been
look
lifting.
you look kind of jacked, bro.
Yeah, I do push-ups and shit now.
Yeah, you look jacked. So
I can lift.
I'll
You do
just-
push-ups and shit.
Yeah. That's the
when you shit. Is that how you work your abs? That's your crunch.
Maybe shit before the push-ups. Just a suggestion.
Shit during, and you can get both workouts
No.
knocked out at the same time.
John, I think you'd like Sandrock quite a lot.
I mean, now I don't want to play it.
But admittedly, a lot of it's just the romance of me makes my brain really happy. I think that's why it does some things better. So Stardew's better in some ways. Like in Don't
Can
Get
you
Me Wrong, Stardew's
date? Can you date more than one person at the same time?
you can, but if you get caught, the other person they'll get upset.
Ah, damn it.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's got a much more like fleshed out network.
Sandrock
As
has
you know
an
me,
80
I date everybody, but in Sandrock,
Sandrock has an 80-hour main story.
80. Well, I'm stuck at 110 hours or something.
Well, no,
I've
yeah,
not finished it.
completion is 162. It says, but it says the main story is 78 and a half hours. That's wild.
There's a lot of content in it.
That's cool. That's great, though. I mean, that's really great. Yeah.
I'm
That's
like
what
looking
I
at
can
Sandrock. I'm looking at Sandrock like she's like the hot new girl or something, and I'm like the jealous old woman, and I'm just like, she's not that hot.
Yeah. She's not.
She thinks she's all that.
It's not perfect, but it is good. I would recommend.
I had a little bit of that with Harvest Moon when Stardew came out. I was like,
yeah.
I was already doing that on my PlayStation 1 before. Like, Stardew's great. Like, I think Stardew, it was at the time where Harvest Moon was still very, like, stuck in the past. It was, like, console only, blah, blah,
Yes,
blah.
it
And
was.
Stardew was like, people on the PC would also like to play this, and they'd like to be able to mod it. So I think Stardew absolutely deserves its success. But
Yeah, Stardew's a fantastic game.
some of the stuff that people were like, oh my god, I didn't realize you could do this in a game. It's like, yeah, like 10 years ago, there was Japanese games coming out for the PlayStation 1 where you could do that, you know? But it's just
Or even
same
the
thing.
Super
Our
Nintendo.
parents have probably had that kind of experience sometimes when we get into something for the first time as kids, and they were like, "Yeah, we had a TV show like that."
Yeah, Stardew just kind of brought it to a more Western audience, I think.
I think so. And maybe
I don't
Sandrock
know.
is like just more in depth.
Yeah, it's like it's just building off of the foundations that Stardew has built.
Right.
For our
Yeah, we'll take
audio
everything
only
away from Stardew.
listeners,
I still love Stardew Valley.
John is
Fuck
struggling to get
tons.
into focus.
Yeah, for our
I think
audio-only
the steam
listeners,
is
I was
rising
pulling
from John.
A Linksy.
Yeah.
I was
John had the
pulling a
Linksy
Linksy
cam,
just now.
Yeah.
Mexicam.
Yeah.
John got so angry that the camera got blurry from
Yeah.
all of the steam.
John punched the camera.
Sandrock, who? What's her name?
She'll never be me.
She'll never love you like I do.
She'll never love you like I do. Guys, we have been chatting for a really long time and we haven't done the tier list. Should we?
I know. I'm a little worried.
Yeah,
What do
I
we
think the tier
do?
list. I would honestly tell you that we're over 2 hours. The tier list is going to literally double that. Like we've never done a tier list that
Yeah.
didn't take like 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
so.
should we save it for next time?
Maybe-
Yeah,
yeah,
we
maybe
must
next
start
time.
with it next time and
Sorry,
make sure
maybe
guys.
maybe just
Yeah.
open up with because again, I don't think we're gonna have I don't think there'll be an hour discussion on Big Kitty Little City. I feel like we'll probably
Well,
be able to get that.
you don't know.
I'm
I'm
just
just a
saying.
really detailed story. Like, no, I assume it's
We
going to be a
don't know.
fairly
I'd say it's probably
compact little
in and out
experience.
conversation. Then we do the tier list. That sounds like a great idea. Yeah.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
just didn't expect Little Kitty Big City to be so much about motherhood, and then we have a
I
conversation.
didn't think I was going to start questioning
Yeah.
the universe. thing
Yeah,
today.
Like, hey, welcome to Spine Show, Little Kitty Big City, part 3 of our discussion.
So, as posited in Little Kitty Big City, is nihilism a cowardly philosophy? Let's discuss.
Oh my god, that's so
The answer's
funny.
yes.
I can't wait to play it. We're gonna play
Fuck
this.
you!
We're gonna play this. I'm gonna play this weekend, man. I'm excited.
I'm excited to play it as well. I've been looking for
I'm excited.
a reason.
I'm excited too.
Yeah,
I think
I'm
feel like I'm more,
excited.
I feel like I'm more
Yeah.
excited. I think I'm the most excited. Honestly.
I think I'm the most excited. Play Little Kitty Big City.
Sido is the
Um,
least.
I'll
I'm
put a
not
Little
gonna
Kitty
lie
Big
to
City.
I'm moderately excited. I
Sido's
hope
like,
it's good.
this
I
is
mean-
2.5 hours of my life I won't get back.
I'm going to go into the game with an open mind, and I'll probably enjoy it. However, I do resent cat games.
Yeah.
Just letting my bias know ahead of time.
Oh, I like
John,
that. I look forward to
there's too
hearing
many-
about that.
Too many games where you play. I did like Stray. You know, I really like Stray actually, and I judged Stray as like, it's just one of those games where like, oh, you play as a cat and that's the whole thing, and there's a bunch of like
This might
easily
be that.
amused people being like, you play as a cat, and they're like real life cats where they just like follow the laser around. They're just like, wow, play cat game. But that's not what Stray is at all. Stray is a great game, and I learned my lesson.
Wow.
Not to prejudge cat
This
games.
might just be a cat game.
We'll find out this weekend. I'll be fine.
I mean, yeah, if this is one of those games that makes me... If this is my first bad review for book club, that'll be interesting.
Oh, I kind of hope it is now.
Because I've had a good positive review for all of them so far.
I know
Me
that.
too.
Yeah. Although even if you
Yeah,
don't enjoy
yeah,
it, John,
right.
it'll be interesting to hear why you don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why John hates cats?
I don't hate cats. I like cats. But I just don't like cat people.
You like cats? How many cats do you have?
0, because I'm allergic.
Name one cat.
Name every cat. Name every cat.
See, you sound like a cat person right now. This is exactly how cat people
I
act.
know. That was the bit.
You must...
Oh yeah, you
must
like cats?
ace-
Name a cat.
No,
You
name
must
it- name
ace
it-
their feline purity test in order to be their friend. Tired of it. Yeah. Oh, how many cats do you love cats so much?
No.
I have 8 cats. How many do you have? 0? Huh.
You're not a very big fan, John, of like lol random humor. You don't like when people are like, "Oh, the game's good because you can pet the cat in it." You don't like the Thomas the Tank Engine and Shrek mods when
Yes.
they put
Oh,
mods in
those
video
suck.
games.
Yeah.
Those do suck.
You could turn
Yeah.
Mr. X into Thomas the Tank Engine. There's always that for every single game.
I
Doug,
hated
Gary,
that.
do you have like a type of humor that you just always really hate? Like for me, it's toilet humor.
Same. I'm with you on
Whenever
the toilet
Gary
humor
talks
thing.
about
Like,
somebody shitting something and then starts giggling, I hate it.
Yeah, like fart
the
fart
roulette
jokes
wheel.
are not funny to me ever.
You don't like
There's
that?
I'm
was
on
thinking about
Team John with like Thomas Tank Engine and shit. I don't want to see that in my games.
I hated
Yeah.
when I was when in the
Meme
90s in the
culture.
90s
Yeah.
in the 90s when they were modding Doom to put shit in. I hated it. I was like, get this out of my game. Like putting Homer Simpson in, as a boss in Wolfenstein. Like fuck
See,
off.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
I-
no,
I
it
hate
ruins
that.
the
That's-
atmosphere.
It's not fun. It's not funny. It's not creative. It's lazy.
Because it was like,
And then-
was it Granny 3 that had like the memes? Started
All
to
the
appear in it?
sunglasses.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I hate this. This is ruining the game for me. Granny 1 and 2, excellent games. Granny 3,
You know, Granny 3 has got a lot of problems in my opinion, but yeah, that is one of them.
Yeah.
Kind of a weird.
I also hate the I hate my wife or I hate my husband or I hate my relationship humor. I always
Oh,
think
yes.
that's like the worst humor.
my
to me. It's
wife.
like take my wife, please. Like shut the fuck up.
That kind of like boomer
Give
ball and
marriage
chain
counseling.
shite.
Don't make jokes.
Although I did see a video of like a lady like blowing out her candle for her birthday. She was making a wish, and her husband just pretended to drop dead, which did make me laugh.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah, that
That's
was
pretty
really
good.
good. That was
That's
really
pretty
good.
funny. That's clever. But
That's
like,
clever.
like Sinnoh, you remember
That was
on
also
trivia night how we would do Family Feud, and if we were ever stumped, we would just be like, "Put in my wife."
Put in my wife.
For the answer, and a lot of times it worked. It was the Hail Mary.
Yeah. Name something in life you could really do without my wife.
Yeah.
Ding 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 ding. All that kind of boomer shit, like dumb jokes.
Murder, theft, adultery.
Yeah.
My wife.
My wife. Yeah. Name something that makes you really sad. My wife.
Yeah. And it would work.
Yeah, or it became like the comedy answer. It's like the comedy of it being such a low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a meta joke.
Well, yeah. When we were able to predict it, that was where the humor came from. Because we were so clever.
We were so clever.
Do you
Yeah,
think
you could
Zoomers
tell
are doing that with us?
What do you mean?
Oh.
Like they're predicting our humor?
Oh, no.
All the millennials being like, the heckin' doggo, epic pupper, posts the office gif.
Yeah.
Adulting is hard.
Adulting is hard. Don't talk to me before I've had my coffee. See, the thing is, I embrace the millennial cringe, but I am aware that I live in we live in a society.
Oh my God.
And sometimes when I talk about how our generation can be cringe about things, I realize that everybody who watches me is often millennial aged and they don't get it.
Oh,
They're like kind of offended when I'm like, hey, we're kind of cringy when we post these office gifs, huh? They're like, what? What do you mean?
Yeah.
It's like, we're also cringe
Yeah.
sometimes.
We're all cringe.
Every
okay
generation
if you
goes
post
out
that
of style.
ironically.
Sorry, go ahead, John.
just for millennial cringe, did you guys see that lady on TikTok? Because a lot of millennials got all up in arms because they were like, Gen Z's trying to cancel Eminem.
Oh yeah.
And that one TikTok lady did like a rap. She was like, so you're trying to cancel Eminem, and she did like an Eminem style rap.
Oh no.
And it's like I had to pause like every 5 seconds. It was so bad, and people were just like
so cringy. You had to like catch your breath.
Yes, I had to pause it like every 5 seconons for like a full minute.
Oh,
I just like couldn't handle it.
Oh,
She keeps going and going, and she's doing kind of an Eminem voice, like kind of.
Because he's got a new album out, right?
Yes, and apparently there was a little bit of controversy about it, but nothing like crazy. It's not like, like I said at the beginning of the podcast, like I like Zoomers. Zoomers are cool. Zoomers are, millennials as far as I'm concerned. We're very similar in a lot of ways. We're tight, yes. As millennials would say, we're tight. But yeah, like this whole like war with Gen Z. Gen Z doesn't get Eminem. They're trying to cancel him. I'm like, what? There's no such thing as that. Sorry. A lot of Gen Z people are like, he's an old rapper, but whatever. They don't really care
Who's
about
this
him.
old dude?
Yeah, who's this old guy? That's really more of what it is. They're not like, he said what?
Clutching their pearls.
Time to cancel him. Cancel him right now. Get him out of here. They're not doing that.
Right.
Get him out of my ears.
And
it's the type of like fake news that millennials like to hear.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's like how boomer-esque you sound right now, millennials, when you're trying to do this. So this is exactly what we experienced with older generations, with all their, back in my day, everything we walked uphill both ways in the snow. Acting
I don't understand this book thing. You can't scroll up on it.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't. This like minimizing like your opinions on things. It's not the way to go. But
yeah, I try and always have my cultural criticism whenever I think about generational type stuff is like, okay, sometimes we're just getting old. Sometimes they're just young, and it's not their culture is uniquely doing something. It's just something that a 21-year-old would say or do, or it's something that somebody who's 35 would say. It's not always like a millennial only thing or a Zoomer only or Gen Alpha only thing. And, sometimes it's just people, I don't know. There's an awful lot of like trying to us and versus them with this stuff.
Everyone wants to polarize everything now.
Right. Everything's a culture war.
Right. Like we definitely had moments that I would say were unique to millennials in like a bad way as well. Like I think our generation went through a big period of publicly having opinions on big websites. And then over time, we've learned that actually kind of sucks. And now a lot of teenagers are much more like, I like Snapchat because it's me and my pals. You're not putting up photos on Facebook or Twitter and everybody can just be like, you look weird. People have learned from that. So yeah, it's like sometimes certain cultures, we have our own foibles and stuff. And sometimes, like I said, John, sometimes it's like, oh, you're just 35 now. Please, let's not be the boomers.
Yeah.
Let's try and get past that as millennials and be a little bit cooler about the
Let's
next
be
generation.
hip and happening.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Let's lock it in.
Let's lock it in.
Let's show our friendship.
Let's show some riz. Let's get our gyats out.
Stick our gyats out for the Rizzler.
Let's stick our gyats out. That is not going to be hip, no matter what.
Maybe not. Yeah, I refuse to stick my gyat out.
Yeah,
I mean, you do it every time. Every time you go to the kettle, bro, you got that gyat out.
I do. I cannot deny.
Let's get jiggy with it.
All right, let's wrap things up.
Is this when we end, please? Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Let's just. We're on life support right now. We got to pull the plug. This is.
Yeah. I think it's. But I do think, if I can say so, I think this may have been our most on fleek season yet.
Oh yeah, the amount of Riz. My gyat is tingling. It was so good.
My chuggies. Is that what the word was, John?
My chuggies. Chuggies are not a noun. Chuggies not a noun.
What do you think chuggy means, Gary?
I don't know.
We told you what it meant before. I swear we've had this conversation.
To be fair, I forgot too. If you guys talked about it today, I also forgot.
It's okay. No, we don't need to talk about chuggy because Gen Z never said it. They never said it. They like played a Jedi mind trick on millennials. We never talked about chuggy.
I swear. John, do you want to
No, it was
Sorry, the
never
cringe is
said.
killing me.
Yeah, just coughing on his
Honestly-
chuggies right now.
Yeah, honestly, I'm feeling pretty chuggy right now. I kind of forgot
Okay.
what it meant, to be honest.
Ah.
Chuggy basically means like basic. It's kind of trying too hard, kind of basic.
Yeah.
Being a Disney adult, going to Starbucks.
Yeah.
So
You know.
basically,
Not having any riz.
Being a basic bitch is what kind of people used to say.
Being a basic bitch. Okay, that
So when I took
Yeah.
Gary to the first ever Starbucks to get a frappuccino,
That was very
we,
chuggy of
we were
us.
being chuggy that day.
we were being total chuggy.
Yes, y'all. Yes,
Big
I'm glad
chug.
that
Big
I'm glad
chug
that we
energy.
could impart this wisdom, so you can start saying chuggy.
I'm beginning
Yeah.
to see why Gen Z dropped it so quickly as a
Oh,
word.
I love it. I'm
Are you
taking
ruining it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
me
taking
too,
it.
Gary. Me too,
I'm gonna start.
Gary.
I'm gonna start calling
The
people
Gen Z
chugs.
The
secondhand embarrassment right
The
now.
I
chuggy
think they were
era
right.
starts today.
Yeah. We're bringing it
We're bringing
back.
chuggy back.
Yeah.
Bringing it back. Oh.
I think they were wise to send that one away.
Well, if Gen Z doesn't want it, we'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll steal
Why
it.
not? Why not us?
Yeah. We'll appropriate chuggy. We'll take it from them.
I prefer chug.
Chug.
Yeah. I like
You're
that.
acting like such a chug right
Yeah.
now, dude.
total chug.
Just
You're a
chug.
chug.
Dude, that's
chug-
such chug energy, bro.
We
You're
can-
chug-
we-
you're
we-
chugging
we
it
can
up,
turn
bro.
We can turn into it
Chugging
now.
out. You're chugging out, bro.
You're
Chug
chugging
it
out.
out,
Chug
bro.
it out.
Chug Charles.
Oh,
Yeah.
call back. Oh.
Let's go.
That
That's
was
it.
a
That's
great-
the
You're
name of
welcome
it.
for that one, Game
Chug,
Devs.
chug,
Chug
chug,
Charles.
Oh,
4 out of 10. Chug Charles.
Still wakes the chug, I think, is
Still
probably
wakes
a better episode. All right. Well, let's get out of here. Thanks to everybody for tuning in, especially our fans in Romania. Hugs and kisses. You're our number one fans. Thanks everybody for tuning in to yet another amazing season. We'll see you next time for the console tier list, as well as our thoughts on was it Little Kitty Big
Little
City?
Kitty,
Big
Little Kitty,
City, yeah.
Little Kitty in the
Big City.
Forgotten City. Yes.
Yeah, that would be my one.
I'm excited
That's
to
my
talk
mod.
about it. On behalf of me, John Wolfe, Gary the Hot Cross, Doug Running Man, and Sinnoh Beats, thanks for tuning in. See you next time. Bye.
Thanks and sorry.
Hugs and kisses.